Welcome, dear listener. I'm so grateful you're here. As you settle in, take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more peaceful reflections. Now, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let my voice guide you into relaxation and restful sleep. Allow your body to sink into whatever surface supports you, feeling each muscle loosen. Envision a gentle current of calm washing through your mind, releasing every worry with your exhale. Inhale tranquility, exhale any tension. Let this journey carry you deep below the waves, into a realm of infinite wonder and quiet peace. Picture yourself floating on pristine waters just after sunset, the sky transitioning from soft gold to a lavender dusk. A faint star or two appears overhead. With each gentle breath, you begin to sink slowly downward, leaving the noise of the day behind. As you drift through the top layer of the sea, the dimming light above dances on the rippling surface. Every ripple carries a soothing pattern, a shimmering mosaic that offers a welcoming invitation to explore deeper. As you descend, a sense of harmony emerges. There's nothing to rush toward here. Time and tide move in tandem. Feel the water's gentle embrace, like a warm blanket cradling your entire being. The ocean's hush envelopes you, creating a cocoon of serenity. Each beat of your heart resonates with the subtle rhythms of the tide. You're safe, and you're free to wander through this hidden universe at a pace that feels as calm or as slow as you'd like. You may notice faint shapes gliding in and out of view, tiny silver fish darting around in playful schools, spurred on by curiosity. Their shimmering bodies reflect the last hints of moonlight filtering from above. If you listen closely, you might hear a distant whale's call or the echo of gentle waves above. Let these soft sounds lull you further into a tranquil state. And this is only the beginning of our aquatic story. Continue sinking lower, imagining a great coral city coming into view. As you approach, subtle shades of teal, peach, and lilac corals glow with bioluminescent splendor. Sponges, anemones, and sea fans sway with languid grace, as if they're dancing to an ancient melody only the ocean knows. Tiny rainbow-colored fish weave through the narrow openings, making the reef look like a vibrant downtown during a festival. In this dreamlike place, everything moves slowly. Even time appears to take a rest. You're free to wander across the reef's winding pathways, marveling at the intricate architecture nature has sculpted. Each coral tower brims with hidden alcoves. Within these spaces, small crabs, starfish, and even elusive seahorses find refuge. The swirl of color and gentle motion draws your focus away from any distractions, grounding you in this silent, glowing present. A curious sea turtle emerges from behind a coral ledge. Its ancient eyes hold the wisdom of countless journeys across the ocean floor. With steady determination, it glides closer, seemingly unafraid of your presence. Notice the patterns on its shell. Each swirl, each marking tells a part of its personal story. Quietly, the turtle continues on its way, leaving you with a sense of gentle reassurance. But that's not the only mystery drifting through these waters. As you move beyond the coral metropolis, you find yourself at the entrance of a secret grotto. The walls inside are draped with lush green seaweed, swaying in a slow dance. Little beams of moonlit water filter through cracks in the rocky ceiling, creating a soothing light show on the sandy floor below. The faint echo of water droplets reminds you that the ocean is alive with subtle music. In the gentle half-light, schools of clownfish and butterfly fish slip past, forming fleeting rainbows of yellow, orange, and purple. Their synchronized movements are hypnotic, as though each fish knows exactly when to turn and shift, creating a living tapestry that banishes any stray thoughts from your mind. The hushed environment calms your heartbeat further, allowing you to breathe more deeply, more effortlessly. Drifting into the heart of the grotto, you might spot the faint outline of an octopus gracefully extending its arms. It changes color in an instant, shifting through pinks, blues, and browns to mirror its backdrop. Each hue dissolves worries you carried into this journey, reminding you how easily one can adapt and blend with the calm that surrounds them. Let the wonders of this shadowy enclave lull you into a deeper state of rest. Yet the ocean's surprises are far from over. Envision yourself stepping lightly onto a soft bed of sand. With each gentle footstep, a small puff of swirling particles rises and disappears. Bioluminescent organisms flicker under your feet, creating a glowing trail as you walk forward. Above you, the ocean extends into a midnight expanse, painted with faint silver beams from the hidden moon. Occasionally, a mild current sweeps past, rustling the seashells and pebbles scattered across the ocean floor. Cones, spirals, and twisted shells of every shape remind you of how diverse and unique each corner of the underwater world can be. Nearby, a slow-moving starfish drifts lazily over rocks, unconcerned with time or hurry. You might feel a similar sense of liberation, realizing the day's deadlines and demands are far behind you. In the distance, a graceful stingray glides across the sand, practically hovering in the tranquil current. Its effortless motion inspires you to relax even further, noticing how the ocean's inhabitants flow with nature, never resisting its gentle push and pull. You too can follow this calm example, letting tension melt away as you journey deeper. And what awaits beyond this sandy expanse is sure to stir your sense of awe. Allow your attention to drift toward a vast, open region of deep blue water. This is the realm of the majestic whales, creatures that navigate great distances with an unhurried elegance. Their calls echo through the darkness, filling your ears with ancient melodies that speak of unity and harmony. Picture a pod of humpback whales rolling gracefully, their enormous bodies appearing weightless in the water. One of these gentle giants surfaces near you. Notice the patterns on its skin, the shimmer of moonlight that outlines its massive form, and the calm curiosity in its movements. A slow sweep of its tail fin sends a gentle ripple through the currents. As you float beside this remarkable being, your breathing aligns with its rhythmic motion. Each time it exhales through its blowhole, it's a reminder that life here is simple and peaceful. In the presence of whales, time seems to pause. Their slow, purposeful energy draws your focus entirely, welcoming you to savor the depth of the moment. Let your mind's chatter fall quiet. If any stray thought tries to capture your attention, allow it to dissolve in the whale song reverberating around you. Such serenity can carry you softly toward deeper rest. Yet, countless other stories still wait beneath these waves. Gradually, let your mind wander toward a place where old shipwrecks lie in silent reclusion. Imagine coming upon the bow of a long-submerged vessel. Rust and algae have cloaked this relic in subtle greens and reds, turning it into an artificial reef that teems with life. Schools of fish have made it home, weaving through broken windows and portholes as if exploring hidden passageways in a forgotten castle. Sunlight from a distant surface rarely reaches here, so flickers of luminescent plankton provide the main source of illumination. These glowing specks reveal details of the ship's battered hull, barnacles clinging to metal edges, corals colonizing the deck, and sea stars resting idly on old wooden planks. Despite the faded timbers and rusted bolts, nature has reinvented this wreckage into something new and vibrant. A sense of respect washes over you. This structure once braved storms above the surface, but now it serves as a sanctuary for underwater creatures. Consider how transformation can occur in any environment. Even what once seemed lost can become a vessel for renewed life. Feel gratitude for the enduring spirit of the ocean. Notice how this silent reminder of the past encourages deeper introspection. And soon we'll journey even farther, where glowing lights beckon. Continue drifting toward an area where the water grows darker, accentuating bursts of neon color that appear around you. Phosphorescent algae and jellyfish pulse with electric greens, blues, and pinks. Each glowing tendril stirs up a sense of wonder you haven't felt since childhood. The jellyfish glide like living lanterns, trailing ribbons of light in their wake. Every so often, a swirl of shining plankton erupts when a gentle current swishes by, leaving streaks of shimmering effervescence. This fluid dance of luminescence mesmerizes your senses, coaxing you into a near dreamlike trance. In this place, hush any lingering chatter in your mind and focus on the simple miracle of glowing life. Breathing remains gentle, your heartbeat unhurried. Imagine the cool water enveloping your entire being, bright with scattered sparks of ethereal color. Feel how the waves of illumination flow through your fingertips, weaving calm directly into your body's core. Here, among these dancing lights, you reconnect with a deeper sense of peace, letting that calm saturate each breath. Yet, there's still so much more to discover if you swim just a bit farther. Next, picture yourself gently caught in a slow, warm current that invites you to drift without resistance. Schools of fish pass by with ease, steering themselves using subtle flicks of their fins. Seagrass meadows sway like an underwater wheat field, shifting in waves that mirror your own restful breathing pattern. A weightless feeling overtakes you, as if the ocean itself cradles your body in a protective embrace. Farther along, a few playful dolphins appear, gliding through the water with mischievous grace. They spiral and flip, exuding joy and curiosity. Their whistles and clicks echo, adding to the gentle soundscape. Observe how they take turns swimming closer to you, as if inviting you to join their carefree dance. This moment reassures you of the ocean's kindness, a realm where interspecies trust can bloom in serene harmony. Let the dolphins' playfulness spark a quiet smile within you. Their spirit reflects the ocean's gift of living in the present, unburdened by regrets of the past or anxieties of the future. Each moment flows into the next, carrying you forward with gentle inevitability. And in the distance, another chapter of this journey beckons with open arms. Guided by a subtle shift in the current, you find yourself entering a hidden cavern of crystal clear water. The cavern's interior glistens with minerals in the stone walls, casting faint, pearlescent reflections. Light refracts through cracks in the rocks, creating dancing patterns that soothe your eyes and coax your thoughts to slow even further. Small eels and shrimp emerge from miniature grottos in the walls, curiously eyeing your presence. Their antennae wave in gentle arcs as they decide whether to glide closer or slip back into the shadows. The water here feels especially pure, like it's been filtered through layers of rock that carry ancient wisdom. Each breath you take feels cleaner, lighter. Lingering here for a moment, you sense a vibrant energy vibrating through every inch of this crystal cave. It's as though the ocean has stored centuries of stories in these walls, quietly waiting for a visitor who will listen with an open heart. Tune your attention to that silent reservoir of tales. You might perceive a faint hum, or simply a comforting hush that encourages deeper rest. There's yet another serene expanse waiting ahead. Leaving the cave, you glide into a wide-open stretch of ocean. Above, diffused moonlight turns the surface into a shimmering tapestry. Beneath you, the infinite depths reach farther than your eyes can measure. It's as if you've reached the horizon within the sea, an endless frontier of possibility and calm. Imagine how that vastness resonates with your own capacity to release concerns and surrender to the moment. Nearby, a solitary manta ray spans its massive wings, seeming to fly through the water with a grand, unhurried motion. Each sweep of its fins creates a soft current that gently nudges you forward. Notice how elegantly it navigates the open blue, trusting each movement of the ocean to guide its path. You too can embody that trust. Feel your mind unravel any knots of worry, replaced by warm acceptance. Drift side by side with the manta ray, letting the hush of the ocean take you deeper into a soothing meditative state. No demands exist here, no clock ticking, no voices calling. Just you, the water, and the silent companionship of a creature content in its world. Eventually, the ray glides off into the infinite realm, leaving you with a profound stillness and the knowledge that you are never truly alone in this vast sea of dreams. Now your surroundings settle into an even quieter hush. Faint echoes of distant whale calls reverberate, reminiscent of the lullabies from earlier. A few scattered dolphins might remain in the distance, their playful chatter drifting into your awareness from time to time. Whenever these sounds reach you, feel a gentle surge of comfort, like a warm breeze on a tranquil shore. Visualize yourself drifting languidly, free of boundaries or constraints, simply existing in the water's tender currents. Each gentle wave of thought that arises in your mind dissolves again, leaving you calmer than before. You can choose to follow the soothing calls, letting each reverberation guide you into a deeper realm of slumber. Notice how this environment nurtures a profound sense of trust and release. Every breath you draw feels richer in peace, each exhalation a chance to surrender a bit more. If you sense any lingering tension in your shoulders, your neck, your back, let it float away as easily as these oceanic whispers pass through the depths. You're fully relaxed, yet the journey continues on in cyclical waves of comfort. There is no hurry to return. You can stay in this underwater reverie as long as you like. As time drifts forward, the moon above transitions gradually, shifting the hues of light that filter down. Pale beams turn to deeper silver, then to the faintest glimmer as clouds move overhead. Feel yourself shifting along with this gentle evolution, as each change in the sky's reflection invites you to sink further into a restful state. The ocean's tide operates on its own schedule, unaffected by the rush of everyday life. In this subtle dance of moonlit tides, consider how nature remains perfectly poised through all transformations. Waves ebb and flow, creatures rest and roam, and energy continually cycles. You too exist harmoniously within these rhythms. In the same way, your thoughts, emotions, and feelings move in natural pulses. Let this knowledge soothe you, reminding you that everything in life can be acknowledged, accepted, and gently released in its own time. Imagine you're cradled by the water's tender movements, as though the ocean rocks you in a soft lullaby. Every cell in your body relaxes further, content to simply be. The day's experiences fade behind you, replaced by an almost dreamlike haze of fluid calm. And still, there's more depth to explore in this journey, as the sea's stories are boundless. Now, picture subtle currents whispering in your ears, each swirl reminiscent of a gentle, comforting voice. These soft undertones might carry the faintest echoes of the coral reef, the patter of fish fins, or the hush of oceanic breezes. In this suspended moment, your awareness might even expand to sense the heartbeats of nearby creatures, or the mild reverberations of faraway tides. Every mental image you have of the outside world becomes soft-edged, as if it's slowly dissolving into the background of your consciousness. The boundaries between you and the sea feel almost non-existent. You absorb a profound calm that permeates your entire being. Think of these whispering currents as a lullaby for your soul, gently quieting any restlessness that might remain. Let these sensations guide you into an even more serene state. If you find your mind wandering, gently bring it back to the steady, fluid environment of the underwater realm. There's no need to grasp or cling to any thought. Simply observe and let it drift away. Eventually, your mind surrenders to a blissful neutrality, content to linger in the present, enveloped by gentle waters. After some time, you become aware of another set of caverns, where mild ocean currents swirl in and out, creating a natural echo. Inside these tidal caves, each inhale resonates with a rhythmic whoosh that complements your slow breathing. Notice the patterns on the cave walls, delicate lines carved over centuries by water's patient persistence. Small creatures scuttle along the walls, safe within damp crevices. Their presence underscores how life adapts to every environment. As these creatures go about their tiny routines, they serve as a quiet reminder. Everything finds its rightful place. Likewise, any worries or concerns you once held can find their resolution in the gentle acceptance of this moment. Reflect on how the tides shaped these caves over countless years, smoothing rough edges into gentle curves. In a similar way, your experiences shape you. Each tide of emotion can polish your inner landscape, revealing newfound wisdom and deeper resilience. This thought alone can invite an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the path you're on. When you're ready, the caves lead you back into the wide, blue ocean, where more discoveries await. Although you're deep under the surface, you sense that somewhere above, the sun may be rising or setting. Time feels less relevant here, yet you catch glimpses of changing light. Perhaps the water is now tinged with a faint rose glow, reflecting a distant dawn or dusk. This interplay of subtle pinks and violets drifts past in dazzling patterns, hinting at a new cycle beginning. You might find new coral formations displaying pastel hues rarely seen before, delicate fans and branches tinted lavender or pale gold. Fish with gossamer fins drift by, glistening in the changing light. The effect is gentle, lulling, and profoundly calming. Each breath you take syncs with the hush of your surroundings, drawing you closer to a natural equilibrium. Feel that equilibrium blooming within your chest. Your heart rate is steady, your mind untroubled. The echoes of daily concerns fade into distant memory. Here, in the company of the ocean's gentle pulse, you can simply exist in a realm that balances light and shadow, day and night. You're reminded that existence unfolds in cycles, each phase giving way to another in perpetual harmony. Let that knowledge sink deeper, guiding you toward further rest. Pause for a moment to focus on the quiet within. Acknowledge that the ocean you've been exploring mirrors the ocean of your own consciousness. Sometimes the surface might feel turbulent with thoughts, but just below, a profound stillness thrives. Embrace that stillness now. Tune in to each inhale, savor the microseconds between breaths, and linger in the softness of each exhale. If any last vestiges of tension remain in your body, visualize them dissolving into a swirl of silver bubbles, rising gently and disappearing among the swirling currents. This is your sanctuary, a limitless, free-floating space where calm reigns supreme. Take comfort in the knowledge that this tranquility is always accessible, just below the surface of everyday life. Your mind drifts at a leisurely pace, free to wander or rest at will. Should any stray thought appear, treat it like a passing fish. Notice it briefly, then let it swim away. No effort is required. Let your sense of well-being envelop you. Soon you sense the approach of a new wonder in this vast sea. Gradually, a mysterious figure slips into view, a graceful eel or sea serpent weaving through the water with long, sinuous movements. The creature exudes an ancient wisdom, as if it has explored every cavern and trench for centuries. It glances your way, but not with fear or hostility, rather with a serene acceptance that you too belong here. Though it slithers between rocky outcrops and hidden tunnels, it never seems lost. Each flick of its tail is an act of confidence, quietly demonstrating that life underwater can be as smooth or as twisting as you choose. Perhaps there's a lesson in observing this being. When obstacles arise, adapt and flow around them, remaining calm and steady in motion. Let this silent mentor guide you in releasing any worries about the unknown. If tomorrow feels uncertain, remember how gracefully this serpent navigates unfamiliar paths. In this watery realm, the future holds no threat, only endless possibility. Feel your breath deepen once again, mindful that you're slipping into an even more relaxed state, lulled by the ocean's promise of gentle guidance. As you drift past the serpent's domain, you notice another portion of reef that seems to be at rest. The corals are more subdued here, exuding hues of pale lavender and silver blue. Fish sleep quietly in small alcoves or behind swaying seagrass. A hush blankets the entire area, as though the reef itself has tucked in for a midnight nap. Within this serene lullaby of stillness, your own desire for sleep grows more profound. Each section of the reef reminds you that rest is an essential phase of the natural cycle. Take solace in knowing that every living thing here has a moment of repose, a sacred pause that rejuvenates body and spirit. You're invited to do the same, carried by the ocean's gentle lull. Let your eyelids feel even heavier, your breathing calmer, and your heart lighter. You're safe, cradled by these waters, embraced by the hush of the reef. Everything is at peace, and that peace reverberates through your entire being. If you haven't already, welcome the approaching slumber, knowing that deeper layers of calm remain to be uncovered. Ahead, a faint glimmer catches your eye, a cluster of oysters partially open, revealing the soft glow of pearls within. These small orbs reflect the faintest light with gentle iridescence. Imagine your own hidden gems of insight lying dormant within you, waiting for the right conditions to shine. Each pearl signifies a reminder that growth can happen in darkness, culminating in remarkable beauty. Observe how the oyster shells shield these treasures, only opening with quiet patience. In much the same way, your subconscious mind gently holds your inner truths, revealing them when you're relaxed and receptive. Sense the hush of your surroundings, letting any subtle realizations float into consciousness without effort. Each realization glimmers like a pearl in the soft moonlight. As you linger in this tranquil moment, let yourself absorb a deep sense of gratitude for the ocean's calm, for life's hidden gifts, for this restorative pause in your day. You might feel a gentle warmth in your chest, a soft blossoming of peace that urges you ever closer to sleep. The pearls fade softly behind you as the ocean continues to unfold. Now you drift once again into an open stretch as the water around you becomes a vast, gentle expanse. Here, no walls or reefs restrict you. The sea stretches in every direction, promising boundless possibilities. Though it's dark and quiet, you detect an underlying warmth and familiarity. You're in the embrace of nature's grandest domain, guided by the comforting pulse of Earth itself. If you feel any flicker of longing or residual tension, allow this endless horizon to dissolve it. Like a kind friend, the ocean promises there's room for every emotion here, and none of it is judged. Each wave of acceptance sweeps any strain away. Gradually, all that remains is the subtle hum of your own peaceful essence. In the distance, you imagine the silhouettes of friendly whales and dolphins, accompanied by the faint glow of phosphorescent creatures. They too appreciate this vastness, a haven where rest and renewal happen seamlessly. The faint calls and gentle lights let you know that although the space is immense, you are never alone. Stillness, comfort, and unity envelop you, paving the way for deeper rest. After traveling so far, you may sense a gentle pull leading you back toward a familiar coral landscape. It's not that you've lost any ground. Rather, it's the ocean's natural currents guiding you in a cyclical path. Notice the comforting shapes of the corals you saw before, though they may appear slightly different under a changing glow or new vantage point. Much like our own lives, small shifts in perspective can make everything feel fresh again. The living tapestry of fish and marine plants still dances, but with a quieter grace, as though the reef is in a drowsy twilight. You realize you've seamlessly woven yourself into this world. The boundary between observer and ocean inhabitant has blurred. You float here without urgency, letting your body soak in gentle calm like a sponge absorbing fresh water. If sleep claims you at any moment, welcome it. The ocean story can continue in your dreams, carrying you through waves of restorative rest. There's no specific endpoint to this journey. It unfolds quietly, echoing the rhythms of your breath and the comforting continuity of the sea. Feel your limbs grow heavier, your mind quieter. Each thought that surfaces finds it easy to slip away again, leaving gentle emptiness. In this hushed state, you understand the ocean's biggest lesson. Peace is always within reach, as constant as the ebb and flow of the tides. Embrace the present hush. Should your eyes flutter, you might glimpse the faint silhouettes of passing fish or the glisten of corals in the distance. Or maybe you'll see nothing at all, just a soothing darkness that promises blissful rest. Every muscle loosens in tandem with the ocean's lull. It's as though you can hear your own pulse merging with the gentle pounding of distant waves. Allow yourself to sink into a well of contentment. Waves of calmness ripple through you, each more profound than the last. You're free to linger in this realm indefinitely, letting the ocean cradle you in its timeless expanse. Let the hush of the water carry you away on soft currents of tranquility, where deep rest awaits. If at any point you drift into half-dreams, you might see a gentle sea turtle gliding through your thoughts, or a manta ray's wings shimmering in half-lit expanses. These images represent the peace and liberation that come from flowing with life rather than resisting it. Notice how these creatures exude a wise serenity, reminding you that your deeper self understands the path to harmony. Sink further into these dreamy images. The water remains soft around you, a consistent embrace that quiets any last flickers of thought. You are free to roam the ocean floor or float through open waters, unburdened by the limitations of daily obligations. Breathing remains steady and calm, guiding your heart and mind into sweet alignment. There's no rush, no finish line. This watery realm extends across the hours of the night, allowing you to rest as profoundly as your body and spirit desire. Accept the gift of rejuvenation, letting each minute of peace restore your energy and sense of well-being. In this softness, each wave soothes and each breath heals. As we enter the deeper hours of the night, the ocean's voice becomes an even gentler lull. Every fish, every coral, every passing current seems to echo one word: rest. With eyes closed, you can still sense the comforting presence of this underwater sanctuary. Should you choose to remain awake a bit longer, let your focus linger on the shimmering paths of moonlit water. But if sleep calls, surrender to it fully and allow these meditations to continue in your dreams. Your mind can glide effortlessly over sandy expanses, weaving between corals, joining whales in their wandering or dolphins in their play. In the realm of rest, distances mean nothing. You can visit the shimmering ocean floor or ascend towards starlit surfaces in an instant. Each moment spent here carries a profound message. Relaxation isn't a luxury, but a natural state you can embrace whenever you need it. Feel your body relax to a point of weightless stillness. Your breathing slows, each inhale and exhale more effortless than the last. The hush of slumber draws closer, enveloping you like the sweetest lullaby. Trust this soothing presence to guard your sleep, dissolving any lingering tension. Let the ocean cradle your dreams and remind you of life's simple, fluid beauty. Gradually, all outer details blur. The corals, fish, and rolling currents recede into a mellow hush, as though the entire sea is dimming its lights for you to rest. Imagine every gentle wave carrying you one step further into a boundless comfort. In this tranquil oblivion, you're safe, nurtured by the timeless waters. The final remnants of wakefulness may cling softly, but they too will fade. Breathe in the subtle aroma of salt water, the gentle hush of distant whale calls, the shimmer of phosphorescent plankton. With each slow exhalation, you release yourself into an even deeper relaxation, sinking into that perfect balance between consciousness and sleep. Time loses all shape here. Minutes stretch into hours, hours into a peaceful eternity. You might only re-emerge when the first golden rays of a new day pierce the ocean's surface, or you might remain in these depths, drifting through the quiet wonders of your own dreaming mind. Know that every second spent in this serene domain heals, refreshes, and calms your spirit. Now, the ocean's lullaby continues, weaving through the hours in a steady, supportive rhythm. If you find yourself restless or stirring, you can re-immerse in the visual tapestry of coral reefs, ancient shipwrecks, glowing jellyfish, or gentle sea turtles. Each image serves as a soft anchor, drawing your mind back to calmness. Allow yourself to float through these final hours of the night, shielded from stress and guided by the steady pulse of the oceanic realm. Let each inhalation deepen your sense of gratitude, while every exhalation carries you further into restorative slumber. This is your sanctuary, an unbroken space of peace that gently wraps you in warm, soothing waters. Whether you fade into silent dreams or stay in a half-waking state, feel free to remain in the ocean's comforting embrace. You've traveled through coral forests, phosphorescent displays, whale songs, and ancient grottos. You've witnessed nature's quiet secrets and let them lull your mind. This gentle current remains at your side as the hours slip by, leading you to the profound rest you deserve. As deeper states of relaxation envelop you, the imagery of the underwater world might soften into abstract shapes, gentle washes of color, or faint impressions of sound. No longer do you need to grasp specific details. The essence of calm remains, ensuring you feel secure, no matter how far you venture into the ocean of your dreams. Each breath resonates with a subtle oceanic rhythm, a slow tide flowing in and out. There's nothing left to do. No tasks demand your attention. No schedules loom. Just you and the tender hush of the sea, harmonizing in the language of rest. Here you're free to dream or simply exist in peaceful stillness. Your body remains supported, your muscles entirely slack, your mind free of chatter. Surrender more fully to the watery cradle that holds you. Should you wake momentarily, you can easily drift back down into these depths of relaxation, guided by the ocean's timeless lull. Relish this extended interlude of self-care, for it's a gift many seldom allow themselves. Hour by hour, the oceanic hush continues, ensuring no disturbance pulls you from your healing slumber. If at any point you recall the vivid marine scenes, the coral towers, the friendly dolphins, the wise whales, simply let that memory guide you back into gentle dreams. Your only responsibility is to rest, to be kind to yourself, and to let the ocean's calm envelop you. In some distant part of your awareness, you may sense the cycles of marine life continuing. Fish feeding, plants photosynthesizing, currents shifting. All these activities hum in perfect harmony, unceasing yet never rushed. Like them, you are part of the grand tapestry of nature, fully integrated into the rhythms of life. Invite gratitude into your heart. Gratitude for your body's capacity to relax, for your mind's willingness to settle, and for the ocean's unspoken promise of renewal. Let that gratitude deepen your serenity, anchoring you in a contentment that spans the entire night. Each moment extends your sleep's gentle hold, carrying you to the brink of a new dawn. Eventually, there may come a subtle shift in the hue of water around you, indicating that somewhere far above, dawn's light is stirring. The ocean in your dreams might respond with a delicate brightening, the faintest suggestion of daybreak. Allow this transition to happen naturally. If you prefer to remain asleep, you can simply sink further into the calm, ignoring the outside world. Alternatively, you can let the morning's promise gently awaken your senses. Recognize that however you greet the new day, you do so replenished and at peace. The undersea realm that comforted you through the night remains a safe harbor in your imagination, ready to receive you whenever you need solace again. This extended journey shows you that relaxation is always accessible. You need only turn inward and descend into the waters of your own breath and visualization. Breathe in once more deeply and fully. Release the exhale with quiet appreciation. Notice how your body feels lighter, your mind clearer, your heart more at ease. You carry a bit of the ocean's serenity within you now, a gentle undercurrent of calm that you can rely on throughout your daily life. Before this 4-hour journey concludes, you have time to savor the lingering moments of quiet. Whether you choose to slip into more sleep or awaken slowly, the oceanic dream realm remains within you, an eternal reservoir of softness and reflection. Each beat of your heart merges with the memory of soothing whale songs and dancing corals, reminding you that tranquility is never far. If you feel a hint of morning energy rising, let it do so gently. There's no need to jump into action too quickly. Instead, take a few final slow, deliberate breaths. Inhale gratitude, exhale warmth. Let your eyelids feel heavy or light, your limbs peaceful and relaxed. You've navigated the wondrous depths of the ocean's imagination, and each moment spent here has enriched your spirit. Should you drift off once again, know that you do so surrounded by silent seas, shimmering reefs, and the gentle companionship of all that lives beneath the waves. Let that vision bring a gentle smile to your resting face, and know that serenity has taken root deep within. May your next hours or your next day be touched by the calm you've discovered in these waters. Section 28. A hidden lagoon beneath the surface. Continuing through the kelp forest, you notice a gentle slope in the seafloor leading upward, as if guiding you to a shallow basin. Soft, golden light bathes this area, a clue that it might be closer to the ocean's surface than you've been in some time. Indeed, as you rise, the water grows slightly warmer, and you discern delicate reflections from above. At last, you emerge into what feels like a hidden lagoon, a sheltered spot just below the surface, partially enclosed by rocky outcrops. The overhead moonlight filters down in radiant streaks, illuminating turquoise waters beneath. A sense of calm washes over you, as though you've stepped into a quiet cove uncharted by most. Small waves lap softly against the submerged rocks, creating a tender lullaby that merges with the quiet gurgle of water streaming in and out. Section 29. The night sky's reflection. Though you remain submerged, you can sense the open air not far above. The lagoon's shallows reflect a dark sky adorned with a scattering of stars. Each pinprick of light forms a mirrored counterpart in the tranquil water. The effect is hypnotic, a union of sky and sea, one reflecting the other in infinite repetition. In this realm, boundaries between above and below blur, suggesting there's no real separation between you and the cosmos. Drifting closer to the surface, you might gently lift your head or your mind's eye to break the water's boundary. The air is still and the night sky is expansive. Soft breezes might skim across the lagoon, carrying the faint scent of salt and perhaps distant vegetation. You can float lazily, half in and half out of the water, letting the hush of the ocean cradle your lower body while the open air brushes your face. Each breath feels refreshed, renewed by the synergy of water and sky. For a moment, consider how vast this universe is, yet how nurturing this particular spot can be. High above, stars shine across unimaginable distances, yet here you are, gently supported by the ocean's surface, breathing in calm and exhaling any tension. This marriage of starlight and water invites a deep humility and an equally deep sense of belonging. You are part of an immense tapestry, woven of cosmic light, swirling seas, and the peaceful cadence of your own breath. Section 30. Descending once more. After a time, you may feel the gentle urge to sink back under the lagoon's surface, drawn by the ocean's hushed siren call. Let your body submerge again, limbs slipping into the temperate water as you descend into the soothing depths. The sights and sounds of the lagoon fade behind you, replaced by an even quieter aquatic realm. Bubbles trail upward from your mouth or nose, like tiny silver orbs returning to the moonlit air. Below, the lagoon's rocky boundaries extend into labyrinthine formations. Some passages remain narrow and unassuming, while others open into broad chambers reminiscent of hidden cathedrals carved by water and time. You sense that each passage may hold unique wonders, bioluminescent plants, small crustaceans, or tranquil caverns wreathed in drifting plankton. The soft thrum of the ocean's pulse continues, an omnipresent reminder of life's rhythmic ebb and flow. Even as you travel deeper, your body remains calm and light. The weightlessness you experience is akin to a prolonged exhalation, as though every physical tension and mental burden has been lifted from your shoulders. In this fluid realm, you need only float and drift, trusting that every moment invites deeper rest. If you catch yourself thinking about daytime matters, gently redirect your attention to the hush, the gentle push and pull of the current, and the quiet heartbeat of the sea. Section 31. Silent Cavern of Pearls. One of the passages leads you into a domed cavern. Water seeps in through cracks in the ceiling, letting in slivers of moonlit rays, which dance across the cavern floor. Nestled in various nooks along the walls, you see oysters, some partially open, revealing the faint iridescent glow of pearls. The pearls are not overly large or showy, but they emit a soft sheen that adds to the cavern's dreamlike aura. Draw closer to one of these oysters. Note how gently it filters the water, occasionally adjusting its shell. Each movement reveals the pearl inside, a subtle token of transformation, formed over time by layered resilience. Reflect on how pearls emerge from a process that begins with a simple irritant, eventually turning into something treasured. So too can our challenges, with care and patience, become sources of inner beauty or wisdom. The hush in this cavern is profound. You might hear the faint drip of water from the porous ceiling or the mild whoosh of bubbles rising from hidden vents in the floor. Every sound is magnified in the stillness, creating a near-sacred feeling. If your eyes grow heavy, let them close. Allow yourself to float in place, lulled by the intangible chorus of water and subtle echoes. The sense of security here is immense. The cavern itself seems to cradle you in the same way an oyster cradles its pearl, nurturing your rest. Section 32. Bioluminescent Canopy. Leaving the pearl-studded cavern, you glide through a gently sloping tunnel and arrive in a space that seems to pulsate with dim, floating lights. At first, it's hard to discern the shapes, but as your eyes adjust, you realize that delicate jellyfish drift in the water, each glowing with pastel hues, lavender, turquoise, pale pink. Their bells expand and contract with hypnotic regularity, trailing thin, translucent tentacles that glimmer like filaments of stardust. Floating among these jellyfish is akin to wandering through a bioluminescent forest canopy suspended in the water. Their collective glow bathes you in a soft rainbow luminescence, creating an atmosphere that's both otherworldly and profoundly comforting. Each jellyfish moves in a silent ballet, drifting on minute currents, occasionally flashing brighter if startled by passing fish. Here, you can do nothing but marvel at nature's artistry and yield to its calming influence. If any tension attempts to surface in your mind or body, let it be dissolved by the jellyfish's gentle dance. Their slow, rhythmic pulsing can serve as a metronome for your breath. Inhale with their expansion, exhale with their contraction. You may feel your heart rate synchronizing as well, each beat resonating with the hush of underwater life. This synergy of breath, heartbeat, and silent beauty weaves a cocoon of serenity around you. Section 33, Echoing Trenches and Caverns. Beyond the jellyfish canopy, you detect a broad trench yawning open in the seafloor. It descends into darkness, yet faint glimmers of coral and sea creatures along the trench walls hint at hidden wonders below. If you feel curious, let yourself descend gently into the trench, using the mild downward current to guide you. It's not a rapid drop, more a gradual journey into the ocean's quieter foundations. The trench walls are decorated with luminescent corals that form sporadic clusters, emitting pulses of pale light. Each cluster seems to breathe, growing brighter, then dimmer, as though in a living heartbeat. Occasionally, you see fish adapted for low light, their large eyes reflecting shimmers in the gloom. Here, the ocean's hush takes on a different timbre, a profound stillness tinged with the faint murmur of far-off currents swirling overhead. Midway down the trench, you spot a cavern opening on one side. Investigating, you find an underwater chamber that resonates with gentle echoes whenever a fish or small creature moves. The effect is enchanting. Each flick of a fin or snap of a shrimp triggers a ripple of sound that bounces softly off the walls. Standing or floating in the center of this chamber, you feel enveloped by acoustic warmth, as though the water itself sings a lullaby. Breathe deeply, relish the echo of your own gentle movements, and let that lullaby soothe your mind ever further. Section 34, Ancient Stone Statues. Exiting the echoing cavern, you notice faint shapes in the trench's twilight gloom, figures that look oddly like sculptures or statues. As you approach, you realize they could be remnants of an ancient civilization once submerged by shifting tides or geological changes. Stone pillars, carved faces, and fragments of walls rest here, partially covered by marine growth. Algae, corals, and shells have claimed these relics, intertwining the memory of human craft with the ocean's ceaseless transformations. There's no sense of eeriness here, only a respectful hush. Schools of fish swim lazily around the statues, weaving in and out of open doorways that lead nowhere but deeper into the trench. Could these structures tell stories of long-lost temples, or are they simply weather-worn rocks shaped by water and time? In the realm of your relaxation, either possibility is magical. The ocean has a way of blurring the boundary between myth and reality. This underwater ruin resonates with a feeling of timelessness. Let it remind you of how life is always in flux, and yet each moment can hold a sense of eternity when experienced with quiet wonder. If your mind drifts to the concept of your own history, moments in your life that have eroded or changed shape, allow compassion to well up. All phases belong to the grand mosaic of existence. Under these waters, you're free to honor them and then release them, just as the ocean has embraced these statues, transforming them into living reefs. Section 35, The Restful Beneath. A gentle current beckons you away from the trench's depths, leading you into an open expanse once again. The seafloor here is wide and even, dotted with patches of seagrass that ripple in the faint current. You sense a profound hush settling over the entire scene, as though the ocean itself has entered a deeper phase of slumber. Each blade of seagrass moves slowly, synchronizing with your heartbeat and breath. Drifting forward, you notice an area resembling a shallow crater in the sand, illuminated by a subtle glow from overhead plankton. The crater is ringed by coral fragments that have tumbled here over time, forming a rough circle. It looks inviting, like a nest of soft sand. If you wish, settle here, letting yourself rest in this cradle of the sea. The circular arrangement fosters a sense of protection, as though nature has crafted a gentle embrace just for you. Take a few long, deep breaths. Feel the ocean's hush intensify. The water is your mattress, the coral ring your warm blanket. Close your eyes in your mind's eye, or keep them half open to watch the slow dance of seagrass. Either choice leads you further into relaxation, deeper into that sweet equilibrium where thought dissolves and only calm remains. Section 36. Subtle shifts of temperature. Time drifts on, and with it comes a slight shift in the water's temperature. A mild coolness might slip in, or perhaps you sense a warmer current brushing past. These subtle changes signal the ocean's never-ending conversation between layers, where waters from different regions converge. You remain at peace, simply noting these nuances as a curious observer, much the way you might notice the gentlest breeze on your skin during a quiet evening above ground. If you feel the cooler water, imagine it soothing away any residual tension in your muscles. If you feel warmth, let it melt your cares more thoroughly. Each current carries a unique texture, a unique caress. You can let them wash over you, massaging away stress. The interplay of temperatures highlights how dynamic and alive the ocean is, even in its most tranquil pockets. It's a living tapestry of hidden flows, all coexisting in intricate harmony. This synergy parallels the currents of your own inner world, where thoughts and emotions often swirl and shift. Here, though, in the quiet heart of the sea, those mental eddies feel gently calmed. Negative or anxious thoughts might still arise, but they're softer now, less intrusive. They pass by like drifting seaweed, acknowledged and set free. You remain in a place of acceptance, where the only constant is compassion, for yourself and for the life flourishing around you. Section 37. Gentle shoals of the near surface. Eventually, the ring of coral around the sandy crater opens to a gentle slope leading upward. Allow yourself to float along this slope, noticing how the water around you brightens ever so slightly. Schools of small, color-shifting fish fill the area with motion. One moment they are silver, the next they reflect pale blues and yellows as they tilt and turn. Light from above becomes more apparent, dancing on your arms and flickering across your hands. You may be coming closer to the surface once more, or simply ascending to a shallower shelf. Either way, the effect is one of gradual reawakening, as if you've taken a long, restorative nap in the ocean's deepest cradle and are now stirring gently, free of any urgency. In these shallower waters, you might catch glimpses of playful creatures, like a curious seal or sea lion investigating the edge of the reef. Or you might witness a bright, inquisitive parrotfish nibbling at algae, puffing out clouds of fine particles that swirl away in the mild current. Every movement, every flick of a tail or snap of a fin, unfolds in slow, dreamlike fluidity. If you feel a renewed sense of wakefulness, allow it to be gentle and unforced. But if your body still yearns to drift in near sleep, remain in that hazy, comforting state. Both experiences are valid here. Section 38. Reef at rest. As you approach the shallower reef, you discover an area that appears more subdued, as though the local marine life has largely settled for the night. Corals slowly close their polyps, retreating until the next feeding cycle. Small fish nestle in protective nooks. Even the water's currents feel gentler, as if the entire reef is dozing. This scene mirrors the hush that comes over a forest at twilight, when most creatures retire and only soft night sounds remain. You might notice a faint luminescent glow from certain corals that remain partially open. This glow is subtle, a gentle glimmer rather than a brilliant shine, mirroring your own state of semi-consciousness. Everything in your environment seems to conspire in favor of your deeper relaxation. Indeed, if you let your eyes close, you might imagine yourself lying in a tranquil meadow under the stars. Only here the meadow is made of coral, and the stars are bioluminescent plankton drifting overhead. Feel free to hover in this restful zone, letting the hush envelop your senses. In this place, the ocean's timeless heartbeat resonates in your chest. Each slow, measured inhalation immerses you further in the realm of ease, while each exhalation releases traces of tension you might have overlooked. You become aware that your sense of self is gently merging with the rhythm of the sea, until there is no boundary between your calm and the ocean's calm. Section 39. The Dream Spiral. Just beyond the reef's edge, you see a curious formation, a spiral corridor made of coral and rock. It appears that natural processes, combined with years of steady currents, have carved a winding path that coils gently downward, reminiscent of a seashell's interior. Soft, ambient light filters in, revealing a path that beckons like a winding staircase into deeper relaxation. If you're drawn to it, begin descending in slow, sweeping arcs along the spiral corridor. Each turn reveals new textures, delicate coral fans, small outcroppings of sponges, even the occasional starfish clinging to a ledge. A mild current moves through the spiral, gently guiding you onward. This path might feel symbolic, as though each coil represents a layer of your consciousness, leading you toward the deepest reservoir of serenity within. At intervals, the corridor expands into small hollows where you can pause if you like, letting your mind wander into daydreams or half-sleep states. These niches feel cozy and safe, each one softly lit by luminescent algae or flickers of moonlight filtering from hidden cracks above. If a wave of drowsiness washes over you, surrender to it. You can always continue your spiral journey whenever you're ready, or remain where you are, dozing in utter contentment. Section 40, Still Waters, Quiet Mind. Once you emerge from the spiral corridor, you find yourself in a region of the sea that's astonishingly calm. The water seems barely to move, as though locked in a moment of perfect stillness. In this quiet clearing, the seafloor is blanketed with fine white sand, and small clusters of coral punctuate the landscape with gentle color. A hush prevails, soothing your heart with a silence as soft as velvet. Let your body float or lie on the sand here, whichever feels more comfortable. The comforting weight of the water envelopes you, as though you're swaddled in the ocean's gentle embrace. Every breath you take is a lullaby, and the spaces between breaths stretch into a warm, relaxed continuum. You might notice your mind slipping into slower rhythms, where thoughts appear and vanish with minimal effort, leaving only the glow of peace behind. Should you glimpse a passing fish or two, watch them drift lazily, undisturbed by your presence. Here you are a friend to all creatures. None flee or shy away, they sense your calm. In this moment, you are both observer and participant in an ongoing, timeless dance. If the outside world calls, it does so from a great distance, its clamor muffled by layers of water and your own deep contentment. This is a sanctuary where you can remain as long as you desire, letting the night pass in the ocean's gentle hush. Section 41. The Embrace of Tidal Forces. Gradually, a subtle shift in the water pressure suggests tidal forces at work. The sea, in its ceaseless dance with the moon, might be rising or receding in some distant part of the world. You can sense the faint tug or release, like a hand gently guiding you to a new position. Rather than resist, let yourself align with this natural force. After all, the ocean has been orchestrating such rhythms for millennia, and you are a welcome participant. With each mild push or pull, your body might shift a few inches across the sand, or you might be nudged closer to a small coral outcrop. You remain perfectly safe, moving only as far as the water allows. A wave of gratitude can blossom in your heart as you acknowledge how the ocean supports you. You are not a stranger or intruder here, but a fellow traveler sharing in these universal rhythms. Take a moment to honor the tides in your own life. Just as water rises and falls, so do our emotions, our energies, our daily fortunes. By embracing these ebbs and flows rather than fighting them, we discover a sense of harmony that fosters resilience and inner peace. In this watery cathedral, you feel that lesson resonate more deeply than any spoken words could manage. Section 42. Coral Pillars of Light. Looking around, you notice columns of coral that rise like pillars in a cathedral. Their tops nearly brush the faint surface glow far above, while their bases plunge into darker depths. Some of these pillars are crowned with glowing anemones that pulse in gentle blues and greens, as if tiny lamps were lit upon each tower. Thread-like tentacles drift outward, capturing nutrients from the flowing water. Approach one of the pillars to appreciate its textured surface up close. Small fish slip in and out of crevices, untroubled by your curiosity. Each layer of coral growth reads like a timeline of oceanic life, with new layers built upon the old. In places, you might see fossilized remnants of past eras, reminding you that every moment in time lays the foundation for the next. Let that thought comfort you. Your experiences, too, can serve as the bedrock for future strength and understanding. If you trace a hand lightly along the surface, be aware of the coral's fragility. Some corals are easily damaged, so imagine your touch is gentle, your movements careful. The ocean, in its generosity, opens these wonders for you to behold. In this quiet sanctuary, you can feel your spirit swell with reverence for life in all its intricate forms. That reverence intertwines with relaxation, deepening your immersion in the sweet hush of the sea. Section 43. A Realm of Subtle Echoes. Moving between the coral pillars, you reach a hidden corridor flanked by columns on either side. The corridor extends forward, lit by faintly glowing sponges that cling to the pillars at various intervals. As you glide through, the shape of this passage amplifies certain underwater sounds, creating gentle echoes. A distant fish flick, the quiet snap of a tiny crustacean, every noise expands in a delicate ripple of acoustics. This softly echoing environment wraps you in a soundscape reminiscent of a lullaby. Each noise arrives in layers, reverberating as though you're wandering through a grand hall made of water and coral. If you pay close attention, you might detect your own breath echoing faintly, as though the ocean acknowledges your presence in song. Let these echoes permeate your awareness, encouraging each inhalation to slow, each exhalation to release tension. The corridor eventually opens into a wider space, a softly lit grotto reminiscent of an old cloister. Coral spires form archways overhead, and the water glimmers in mosaic patterns on the floor below. In the hush, your body feels exquisitely light, your mind calm and receptive. This is the essence of deep relaxation, an unhurried present where each passing second soothes you further. Section 44. Rays of dawn beneath the waves. Though you're still underwater, there's an intangible shift in the quality of light, hinting that dawn may be approaching at the surface. A soft, pearlescent glow begins filtering into this grotto, dancing over the coral arches. The transition is subtle, no glaring brightness, just a faint, gentle increase in luminescence. You might envision the sun creeping toward the horizon far above, its rays starting to pierce the depths. This change serves as a gentle reminder of life's cycles. Even in the ocean's deepest hollows, day and night leave their footprints in the water's character. Yet your restful state remains unbroken. The mild arrival of dawn only enhances your sense of comfort, as though the ocean itself is whispering that a new day can be greeted with serenity. If you find your eyelids fluttering, deciding whether to remain in slumber or awaken slowly, remember that you're free to choose. The ocean imposes no schedule. If you do feel drawn to the subtle light, you may gently ascend toward it, guided by quiet curiosity. Or, if the lull of the water is still strong, you can remain in this coral grotto, letting the light come to you in due time. Each path is valid, each fosters peace. The hush of this realm protects your stillness, no matter which direction you take. Section 45. Gentle ascension through blue layers. Let us imagine that you decide to ascend gradually toward the surface where the day slowly awakens. You leave the coral grotto behind, drifting upward through layers of gently brightening water. The hue shifts from midnight blues and indigos to softer, powdery blues touched by sunrise's early glow. Tiny bubbles may escape from your mouth or nose as you breathe with consistent calm, each bubble shimmering like a pocket of starlight rising to the sky. During this climb, you might pass through another small kelp forest or brush against drifting patches of seaweed that linger in mid-water. Each brush of kelp or seaweed feels like a gentle handshake from the ocean, an acknowledgement of your journey so far. Schools of fish might accompany you for a short distance before veering off, drawn by their own morning routines. The water's temperature might shift slightly, warming as you approach shallower levels. If you see any beams of sunlight penetrating the surface, notice how they fragment into golden bands that dance with the current. Each passing second encourages you to breathe more easily, letting your body remain in a half-sleep if it desires. This ascension is not about rushing. It's about meeting the day with quiet acceptance, should you choose to open your eyes to the new dawn. Section 46. Surface Reverie. At long last, you break the surface, greeted by a tranquil seascape bathed in dawn's first light. The sky overhead is painted with pastel hues, gentle pinks merging into delicate oranges, with a faint promise of blue on the horizon. Wisps of clouds float lazily, reflecting shades of gold and lavender. The air is still cool, carrying the mild tang of salt and a hint of morning freshness. As you tread water, you may feel the slight chill of a morning breeze across your face. Seabirds may circle far above, their calls muted by distance. If you allow yourself to float on your back, your ears submerge just enough to block out all but the faintest ambient sounds, leaving you with only the gentle lapping of water around your head. This partial silence, coupled with the pastel sky, forms a cocoon of dreamy awareness. Consider how restful it feels to merge the watery hush with the crisp air of dawn. The ocean's lullaby continues even at the surface, each wave a gentle push that carries you in a rhythmic sway. If at any time you wish to dive back down, the realm below remains open, forever welcoming. Alternatively, you can remain afloat, letting the motion of the surface lull you into that sweet, drifting place between wakefulness and slumber. Here, day and night blur, granting you the best of both worlds. Section 47. Glistening Shoreline. If you glance toward the horizon, you might see a distant shoreline, a faint strip of land silhouetted against the sunrise. Gentle waves roll in that direction, occasionally forming ripples or small crests that catch the morning's golden light. If you choose, you can let the current slowly guide you that way. There's no urgency, no hurry to reach the shore. Instead, you can simply ride the natural flow, your body buoyed by the ocean's gentle cradle. As you drift, watch how each wave builds softly, then subsides. Even at the surface, the ocean never ceases its mesmerizing dance. Breathing remains your anchor. Inhale the fresh morning air, tinged with a briny scent. Exhale any tension that might try to cling. Each breath feels cleansing, as though you're inhaling the calm you discovered in the depths and exhaling it into the day's new light. Seabirds may appear closer as you approach the vague outlines of the shore, seagulls, pelicans, or terns gracefully soaring in search of breakfast. Their presence adds a touch of gentle motion to the sky, a reflection of the effortless gliding you experienced among schools of fish. Daylight has a different rhythm, but the undercurrent of peace lingers. If your eyelids grow heavy, you can still doze lightly, floating as you are, letting time pass at the pace of a drifting cloud. Section 48. Touching sandy ground. Eventually, the water around you becomes shallower, the ocean floor creeping upward until you feel the soft brush of sand under your toes. You've reached a secluded cove or beach, its shoreline curved gently like a protective crescent. The sand is pale, the rising sun's rays giving it a rosy glow. Small dunes or scattered rocks frame the edge of the beach, possibly dotted with tufts of seagrass or wild coastal plants. If you feel inclined, stand carefully, letting the water drain away from your body. The mild morning air greets your skin, and you might experience a pleasant mix of lingering ocean warmth and the cool breeze. Each step in the sand feels like a gentle massage, the grains shifting under your weight. Look around to absorb the quiet beauty. Seabirds pacing the shallows, the hush of early daylight that hasn't yet been disturbed by human activities. You can remain here, half in the water, half out, or move up onto the beach to rest. If the idea of lying on the sand appeals to you, find a comfortable spot and let your body recline. The ground beneath may still hold the night's coolness, while the sun's first warmth begins to caress your skin. It's another layer of nature's therapy, bridging the aquatic calm you've experienced with the grounded stability of land. Section 49. Reflecting on the journey. As you rest on the shore, take a moment to reflect on the sweeping journey you've experienced. Descending beneath moonlit waters, exploring coral cathedrals, discovering hidden grottos, witnessing glowing plankton and jellyfish, drifting alongside whale sharks and playful dolphins, and finally emerging into a gentle sunrise near a tranquil beach. Let these memories float through your consciousness, each one a stepping stone of relaxation. Section 50. Echoes of the ocean's lullaby. Though you've touched the shore, the ocean's lullaby lingers. In the distance, you can still hear the rhythmic shush of waves collapsing onto sand. A mild breeze carries the scent of brine and seaweed, a gentle reminder of the hidden world beneath. For a moment, consider how seamlessly the water merges with the land, how the tide flows in and out in perpetual renewal. Likewise, your own spirit can flow between the realm of rest and the realm of daily life, enriched by both. If your eyes are open, you may watch the horizon shift in color as the sun rises higher. Streaks of soft pink and gentle orange might fade into a clearer, brighter blue. The warm golden light that once glimmered at the ocean's surface now illuminates the sand and highlights small footprints, yours or those of shoreline creatures. The day is stirring, but the calm of the depths remains a comforting undercurrent in your awareness. At any time, you can choose to return to your watery sanctuary. It may be a single breath away in your imagination, a calm mental refuge you can access when daily demands weigh heavily. Remembering the hush of the reef, the luminous dances of creatures, the gentle calls of the whales, can instantly transport you back to the serenity you've cultivated. In this way, the ocean's lullaby echoes through your waking hours. Section 51. A moment of stillness on the shore. Soft morning light stretches across the beach, illuminating the delicate grains of sand beneath you. The gentle wash of small waves continues in the background, a soothing rhythm that underscores the transition between night and day. You've returned from an enchanting world beneath the surface, carrying with you a deep sense of calm that now blends with the fresh promise of a new morning. Here on the shore, you might choose to remain lying on the warm sand, letting the rays of dawn caress your skin. The slight chill of the ocean water on your feet contrasts with the growing warmth in the air. Overhead, seabirds float effortlessly on mild breezes. Every so often, one might dip toward the water, wings glinting in the early sunshine. Observe these graceful motions without judgment or thought, allowing them simply to lull your mind in the same way that a gentle tide would. If you closed your eyes, you'd still hear the hush of waves, the faint call of distant birds, and perhaps the rustle of palm fronds or beach grasses swaying in the breeze. Each sound blends into a tranquil chorus, encouraging you to let your breath slow and your muscles soften. Although you stand at the boundary of land and sea, you carry the serene hush of the depths within you. Stay here as long as you wish, appreciating this fleeting moment in time where everything aligns in perfect harmony. Section 52. Gentle Reflections of the Deep. As you rest, memories of coral arches and luminous caverns drift through your mind like wisps of soft clouds crossing a sunrise sky. You recall the grand whale shark gliding peacefully, the echoing corridors alive with shrimp clicks, the subtle glow of bioluminescent creatures painting the darkness with their faint, magical lights. Despite being on land now, you sense that these images are as vivid as ever, safely tucked away where you can revisit them at will. Perhaps you find it comforting to compare this recollection to the gentle reflection of sunbeams on the water. Just as those sunbeams shimmer and fade with the shifting tide, your undersea memories fade in and out, not with urgency but with a natural ebb and flow. If at any point you feel tension tugging at you, whether from lingering worries or physical discomfort, turn your attention to one of these undersea memories. Let it wash over you like a cool, refreshing wave, dissolving stress as it goes. Imagine that each inhale draws in the serenity of the ocean depths, and each exhale releases anything that keeps you from total relaxation. In doing so, you realize you have not truly left the world beneath the surface. The boundary between sea and shore, between dreams and waking, is permeable. With every easy breath, you slip deeper into a state of renewal, bridging the quiet power of the ocean with the gentle familiarity of the shore. Section 53. Wandering along the water's edge. When you feel ready to move, you might stand up slowly, allowing the grains of sand to fall away from your body. Notice how your feet imprint the damp shoreline. The sand here may be cool, having been shaded by night. Each footstep leaves a simple mark that vanishes when the next small wave kisses the shore. There is a playful dance between you and the ocean, the gentle waves receding, then flowing back to meet your footprints. Stroll leisurely at the water's edge, letting the foam swirl around your ankles. The rhythmic push and pull of the tide is a reminder of the ocean's reliable heartbeat. You recall how not so long ago, you explored that heartbeat in the hidden caverns and coral forests beneath the waves. Now you witness it from above, carrying the same sense of wonder and tranquility in your heart. The sun climbs higher, warming your shoulders, while the breeze cools your face, creating a balanced sensation that draws you further into a calm, meditative state. Each step forward can symbolize a fresh page, a new chapter in your journey of relaxation. The movement feels neither rushed nor forced. It's guided by your own gentle curiosity about what lies along this peaceful coastline. Whether you walk for minutes or hours, the union of water, sand, and sky remains a balm for any restlessness in your mind or body. In this quiet ritual, you reaffirm your connection to the greater tapestry of life, where every motion is deliberate, every breath is easeful. Section 54. Tide pools at dawn. Further down the beach, you notice shallow pools left behind by the receding tide. Sunlight sparkles on their surfaces, revealing tiny ecosystems teeming with life. Colorful anemones sway in the gentle currents that come and go. Small crabs scuttle quickly over rocks, and starfish cling to hidden crevices. Now and then, a ripple suggests a fish or shrimp darting away from sudden movement or shadow. Kneel beside one of these tide pools. Observe the miniature world within it. Notice how each creature, though confined by the temporary boundaries of the rocky pool, carries out its routine with remarkable calm. The starfish extends a limb, the crab finds a new hiding place, the anemones flutter gracefully. Each motion seems purposeful yet unhurried, akin to the flow you felt within the undersea caverns. Touch the water gently, feeling its cool temperature. If you remain still and quiet, some of the timid inhabitants may venture closer. Their presence can be a testament to the trust and harmony that form when one meets nature with reverence. Soak in this moment. It's another reminder that the small, seemingly inconsequential corners of the world hold vast beauty and intricate life. If your mind tries to wander off to worries or distractions, draw it back to these intimate details. Let them ground you in the simplicity and wonder of right now. Section 55. Reflection in a still pool. Choose a deeper, larger pool if you wish, one that has a smooth surface like polished glass. The reflection of the sky overhead may appear in pristine clarity on the water's surface, forming a seamless mirror of clouds and light. Kneel or sit beside it, letting your gaze soften. You might see your own reflection intermingled with the drifting shapes of clouds. Each shift in the breeze, each tiny ripple, gently alters the reflection, reminding you that all states of being are fluid and ever-changing. Gaze into this reflection without fixating on any one detail. Instead, allow the shapes and colors to merge, separate, and reform, akin to the shifting patterns of your own thoughts. If a stray concern arises, watch it melt into the ripples, the same way a cloud's image dissolves when a gentle wave passes by. In this meditative view, you discover that nothing stays fixed for long, and that's perfectly okay. If you lean closer, you might catch a glimpse of small fish darting below the surface, navigating the miniature world of seaweed and pebbles. Their presence beneath your reflection can symbolize the layers of consciousness you explored in the depths, the hidden aspects that, when brought to light, shimmer with quiet beauty. Let this reflection space be a metaphor for self-awareness, a merging of surface and depth, of external light and internal calm. Section 56. A call from the ocean. Eventually, you may feel a gentle pull in your heart, a whisper from the sea urging you to return to its vast expanse. As comforting as the shoreline has been, the memory of weightless drifting and quiet aquatic corridors beckons. You recall how profoundly relaxed you felt suspended in the undersea hush. Even though the new day has begun, there is nothing preventing you from re-entering that realm. The ocean's arms are always open, day or night. Approach the waterline again. Notice how the waves lap around your ankles with renewed familiarity, as though greeting an old friend. With each step you take into the sea, the warmth from the sun on your skin meets the gentle coolness of the water. Layers of sensation overlap: the tactile press of salt water, the refreshing swirl around your calves, and the forgiving softness of sand that soon gives way to buoyant depths. When you feel ready, glide forward, letting your body lie on the surface. This time, you might choose to keep your face above water, gazing at the sky while you float, or you can dip beneath and let the watery hush reclaim you. Either choice reconnects you to that sense of effortless calm. If you linger at the surface, you hear the mild slosh of waves, the occasional cry of a seagull. If you descend, the hush becomes near total, broken only by the murmur of water currents and your own breath. Both experiences are realms of peace, bridging you to the unbroken calm of your deeper self. Section 57. Submerged in daylight. Slip beneath the surface. Unlike the nighttime dive, the water now shimmers with daylight filtering from above. Sunbeams pierce the water, creating rippling patterns of golden light across the sandy floor. The sea's palette is more vivid. Corals appear brighter, fish scales reflect radiant hues, and the azure overhead glimmers like a living mosaic. Though the stillness remains, it's laced with a subtle daytime energy, a gentle liveliness flowing through the ocean's inhabitants. As you dive deeper, the colors shift from vibrant turquoise near the surface to softer, more muted blues further down. Yet even in the dimmer recesses, patches of coral continue to glow with internal brilliance. Some fish are more active in the daylight, darting around in playful schools. Their movements, while quick, don't disturb your sense of calm. Rather, they enhance it, like joyful notes in a serene melody. Notice how your breath remains at a slow, measured pace, your heart steady and unhurried. The ocean's calm outlasts any changes in external brightness or busyness. This highlights a profound truth: serenity is an inner state, accessible no matter the environment. You slip into that flow once more, every muscle relaxed, every thought gently drifting. The intangible lullaby you felt at night resonates still, underscoring the day's bright tapestry. Section 58. Exploring a sunlit coral garden. Moving along, you come upon a lush coral garden spread out like a brilliant meadow. Sun rays dancing through the water illuminate these corals in vivid splendor: reds, yellows, pinks, purples, unfolding in vast clusters. Schools of tiny fish circle overhead, their collective motion reminiscent of windswept petals. Larger species, like parrotfish and butterflyfish, glide near the corals, nibbling algae and stirring up subtle clouds of debris that glimmer in the light. Drift among the corals with a reverent slowness, mindful not to disturb them. Each structure serves as both shelter and nourishment for myriad creatures. You might spot a hidden octopus changing colors to blend with the coral's texture, or a small eel peering out from a crevice. Their presence is a quiet reminder of the ocean's boundless creativity and adaptability. In this sunlit domain, your senses awaken to fresh layers of detail: the interplay of light across a coral's ridges, the faint hum of water currents carrying nutrients, the swirl of microbubbles released by photosynthesizing algae. Let these gentle stimuli ground you in the here and now. With each gentle motion of your arms and legs, you remain suspended in a tapestry of soft wonder, free from worldly concerns. That relaxing hush from the night persists, merging seamlessly with the day's liveliness in a perfect balance. Section 59. Rays and turtles under the morning sun. From the corner of your vision, you catch a glimpse of a broad manta ray swooping gracefully through a shaft of sunlight. Its huge wings span wide, casting a gentle shadow on the coral below. Watching it glide is like witnessing the slow, measured flight of a bird in open skies, except this flight is silent, performed in a weightless dance beneath the waves. Each subtle tilt and curve of the ray's body demonstrates a mastery of fluid motion. Not far away, a sea turtle emerges from behind a coral cluster, paddling steadily through the water. Rays of sun highlight the intricate pattern on its shell, tracing faint gold lines along the ridges. The turtle's eyes hold a calm, ancient wisdom, as though it has seen centuries of sunrises across countless ocean miles. You might glide closer, noticing the turtle pausing to nibble on seagrass or to investigate a resting patch among the coral. In its unhurried actions, you sense a reflection of your own restful mindset. Stay present in their company. Observe how the ray and the turtle maneuver around each other with effortless grace, each finding its own path without conflict. That synergy resonates within you, affirming that gentle coexistence can be as natural as breathing. Let the comfort of this truth sink in, fueling a feeling of unity with your surroundings. If you close your eyes, you might still see the dance of their movements behind your eyelids, a ghostly ripple of peace in the luminous water. Section 60. Glittering sands and singing currents. Beyond the coral garden, you encounter an open expanse of sand glinting in the sun's refracted glow. Each granule sparkles like a tiny gem. The water appears crystal clear, allowing you to see far into the distance, perhaps spotting the faint shapes of reef formations or rock outcroppings yet to explore. At intervals, mild currents stir, creating swirling eddies that drift across the sand like ghosts of wind over desert dunes. These currents produce a gentle sound, reminiscent of a low hum or whisper. It's as if the ocean itself is singing, celebrating another day's dance of light and color. When you relax your breathing, you become more attuned to these soft melodies. Each swirl of water, each faint rustling of sand, translates into a harmonic note in this undersea lullaby. You glide through this sunlit sand plain with minimal effort. The ocean is carrying you, cradling you in its rhythmic arms. The hush that lulled you at night remains, yet it's complemented now by the subtle sounds of daytime vitality. If the impression of drifting toward sleep tugs at you, yield to it. The sea welcomes napping minds as tenderly as it greets bright, inquisitive ones. In this watery realm, no boundary separates rest from awareness, allowing you to experience both with equal ease. Section 61. The soft glow of sea fans. As you continue your journey, you encounter a series of tall sea fans swaying in the mild current. Their shape is reminiscent of ornate candelabras, each branch dancing in the shimmering water. Though the lighting is bright, these sea fans exude a soft glow of their own, tinted in faint lavender or coral pink. Small fish weave between the branches, pausing occasionally as if to greet you in a language composed of gentle glances and fluid movements. Let yourself drift closer, noticing the texture of the sea fan's branches. Up close, they look like intricate lace woven from delicate filaments. Schools of minute plankton swirl around them, catching sunlight in ephemeral flashes. A sense of calm floods through you as you watch the fans sway in perfect rhythm with the ocean's pulses, untroubled by any disturbance. They bend gracefully rather than resisting, a living emblem of yielding to nature's flow. Stay here for as long as you'd like, letting the sea fan's dance mirror the ease in your own body. If you find any tightness in your muscles, envision it dissolving into the water, the same way the fans let the current pass through without resistance. Each breath matches the gentle sway, reinforcing your sense of harmony with the environment. The hush of your thoughts is underscored by the hush of the water, a gentle interplay of inner and outer peace. Section 62. Shimmering Cavern of Light. Drifting past the sea fans, you spot a large opening in the seafloor that leads into a cavern. Unlike some of the darker caverns from your previous explorations, this one is awash in brilliant light streaming from overhead. Perhaps the sun has found a natural fissure in the rocky top, allowing beams to cut through the water in spectacular, glowing columns. The result is a dazzling subaquatic cathedral, where each beam of light illuminates swirling plankton and debris like dust motes dancing in a sunlit room. Enter this cavern slowly. The transition from the open ocean into a partially enclosed space might bring a slight change in water temperature or currents, but it remains soothing. Stalactite formations hang from the cavern's ceiling, each one crusted with coral and algae that catch the radiant beams. The water's surface inside the cavern shifts gently, sending rippling reflections across the walls, a ceaseless ballet of shapes and light. You might choose to float in one of these radiant beams, letting the sunlight wash over you. Notice how your skin or your imaginative sense of self warms under this filtered glow. It's a comforting counterpoint to the cooler water enveloping you. Muffled echoes of the outside sea hum in the background, reminding you that though you're in a temporary enclosure, you're never disconnected from the greater ocean. If your breath remains deep and leisurely, you'll feel a sense of serene containment here, like a butterfly resting inside a softly lit cocoon, shielded from any storm. Section 63 Voices of Hidden Life. Within this lit cavern, faint sounds resonate from hidden recesses, little squeaks, clicks, or gentle throbs that echo softly. Clusters of shrimp may be snapping, or smaller fish might be creating subtle vibrations as they feed on algae. You might hear an occasional distant whale call reverberating through the rock, diluted but still comforting. Each sound feels enveloped in the protective hush of this space, as though the cavern itself is listening. Glance around, letting your curiosity guide you to corners where the light doesn't fully reach. You might see the flash of small crustaceans crawling along the walls or the swirl of fish schooling in the half-shadows. The calm atmosphere invites mindful attention to each subtle movement. There's no rush. The outside world's timetables don't matter here. Your only objective is to breathe softly, to observe gently, and to remain open to the healing hush permeating every ripple. Occasionally, a bubble of air might escape from a crevice in the rock, ascending through the sunlit water like a silver balloon rising to the sky. You can follow its path until it disappears at the water's surface or merges with larger pockets of air. This visual can mirror your own process of letting go. Each exhalation a bubble of tension, released gently, drifting away until it dissolves into tranquil nothingness. In this place, letting go is natural and effortless. Section 64, Warmth from Hidden Vents. As you explore further back in the cavern, you detect a soft current of warmer water that contrasts with the surrounding coolness. It emanates from what appears to be a geothermic vent or a warm spring hidden among the rocks. The mild warmth permeates the water, creating gentle whirlpools of comfort. In the bright caverns you explored at night, you found a similar spot, but the effect of sunlight now makes it more inviting. Curious, you move closer, allowing the warmer current to brush against your hands or torso. The sensation is akin to stepping into a warm patch in a swimming pool, a surprising moment of relaxation that leaves your muscles feeling loose, your body yielding to the ocean's embrace. In your mind, visualize any lingering stress in your shoulders, neck, or back melting into this balmy flow. The ocean's hush intensifies, a silent lullaby urging you to remain in the present, content and free from worry. If you choose to linger, you can imagine the warm water swirling around your spine, soothing each vertebra, each muscle fiber. It's as if the ocean and earth herself collaborate to cradle you in healing energy. You might even close your eyes and rest against a smooth part of the cavern wall, lulled by the synergy of sunlight from above and gentle heat from below. Time once again becomes fluid, unbroken, measured only by the expansions of your breath and the hush of your mind. Section 65. Transition into the open sea. After basking in the warmth, you sense a subtle invitation to return to the open sea. The cavern's light ebbs and flows as water from outside surges in gentle pulses, hinting at an active world beyond these walls. When you've had your fill of this enclosed oasis, slip quietly out through the same opening by which you entered, carrying the essence of that light-filled sanctuary within you. Emerging into the broader ocean, you find that the day's light has grown stronger still, permeating the upper layers of water. Perhaps the sun is now higher in the sky, imparting a brighter, more energetic vibe to the environment. Schools of fish shimmer like tiny mirrors, turning this watery expanse into a tapestry of luminous motion. It's as though you've stepped from a tranquil chapel into a sunlit meadow, with everything glowing in renewed vibrancy. Take a moment to orient yourself. The hush remains beneath the surface, but you can sense an undercurrent of daytime activity. More fish appear to be hunting or grazing, and even small rays or sharks may be on the move, patrolling the reefs for sustenance. Their presence is neither alarming nor disruptive, merely another chapter in the ocean's ceaseless story of life. You move gently among them, your own personal hush unbroken by external bustle. Section 66. Drifting through a shallow estuary. Gliding onward, you might notice a shift in the water's salinity or color, indicating the presence of fresh water mixing with salt water. This subtle gradient often signals an estuary or lagoon, a place where rivers or streams meet the ocean. The water may take on a slightly emerald tint, where you might see lines of sediment swirling where the currents converge. Following these hints, you move into a shallow estuarine area where seagrass meadows flourish. Long, ribbon-like blades of grass sway back and forth, creating a gentle, rippling movement that seems to echo your own slow breathing. Seahorses could be clinging to the strands, their delicate tails wrapped around the greenery. Tiny shrimp busily patrol the grasses, while smaller fish and fry find refuge in this sheltered space. The water here is pleasantly mild, with sunlight easily reaching the sandy bottom. Life abounds in this nursery-like environment, but everything unfolds with the same calm hush that characterizes your journey. You sense the synergy of fresh and salt water, a harmonious blending of two realms. Each breath reminds you that everything in nature is connected. The rivers carry nutrients from distant mountains, which feed the ocean's bounty, which in turn nurtures the life flourishing before your eyes. Feel that unity settle into your bones, reinforcing the restful state you've cultivated. Section 67, Shore Birds and Mangroves. Around the perimeter of this estuary, you might see mangrove trees rising like sentinels at the water's edge, their twisting roots forming a natural maze where small fish and crustaceans hide. The greenery stands out against the watery background, thick tangles of branches arching overhead. Overhead, shore birds, egrets, herons, maybe even pelicans, perch in the branches or wade in the shallows, patiently awaiting a fish that wanders too close. If you float near the surface, you can witness these birds from below, watching as their long legs disturb the water, sending rings of gentle ripples outward. Their calls echo through the mangroves, blending with the soft rustle of leaves stirred by the breeze. This environment, half land, half water, forms yet another bridge between worlds. The hush of the ocean merges with the hush of the forest, a chorus of acceptance and peace. Glide among the mangrove roots if the water is deep enough, noticing how seamlessly fish move in and out, protected by the tangle of wood. You realize that safety and refuge can exist in the most intricate networks of nature. That same sense of refuge exists within you. No matter how complex your life's roots might be, there's a calm center you can access, just like these fish hiding among the mangroves. Take a moment to honor this truth, letting it deepen your rest. Section 68, Reflective Pause and Gentle Renewal. Lingering in this estuary or lagoon, you might choose to pause once again, allowing your body to float near a shallow bank or within the calm swirl of water. A mild, soothing current continues to flow, brushing past your limbs, your hair, or the edges of your mind. If you desire, close your eyes and recall the ocean's hush from the previous night, weaving it into the present brightness. Each breath fosters a gentle renewal. You inhale the serenity of brackish water and exhale the residue of any tension. It's a simple, cyclical act of nourishment. Occasionally, you might sense small fish nudging curiously around you, or see a flicker of sunlight on a passing ray. Let these details flow in without grasping or analyzing. They're just part of the tapestry, glimpses of nature's ongoing dance. As you rest, you realize just how natural it feels to slip in and out of restful states. Whether your eyes are open or closed, the hush remains anchored in your breath. Sometimes your mind might wander to everyday matters, but the water's calm presence nudges you gently back into the moment. This place is your sanctuary, a realm that fosters both reflection and dreamlike wandering. Section 69, The Whispering Current's Invitation. After enjoying the estuary's peace, you notice a whispering current drifting back toward the open ocean. It's neither forceful nor abrupt, more like an old friend tapping you on the shoulder, reminding you there's more to explore. Feeling renewed, you follow that gentle pull, slipping past mangrove trunks and out into slightly deeper water. The environment brightens again with the turquoise expanse unfurling before you. Small waves carry you forward, each ripple reflecting the mid-morning sun. You sense the ocean's vastness stretching beyond what you can see, an endless invitation. Yet you know that wherever you choose to swim, the hush accompanies you. So you let your arms and legs move in slow, rhythmic strokes, or perhaps you allow the current to do most of the work while you simply float, trusting the ocean to guide you. In the distance, you might spot a cluster of coral reefs or a gentle drop-off into deeper waters. Perhaps you see sandbars with rays gliding across them or a swirl of fish shimmering near a hidden rock formation. Each potential path beckons with promise. There's no hurry to decide. The ocean teaches patience by example. Everything in its realm follows cycles of growth, rest, movement, and stillness, harmonizing in an unbroken chain of life. Section 70, Midday Tranquility Beneath the Waves. Should you venture out to a spot with slightly deeper waters, you'll find midday sunlight streaming through with greater intensity than before. The beams of light seem more direct, painting brighter ripples across the ocean floor. Yet the hush endures, unaffected by the sun's vigor. The deeper you go, the more the intense glare dissipates into diffused luminescence, reminiscent of a half-remembered dream. Schools of fish flash by, some in vibrant blues and yellows, others bearing subdued patterns that mirror the sandy seafloor. Each group orchestrates a graceful, synchronized ballet, weaving around you without fear. The hush you exude seems to reassure them that you pose no threat. Their synergy exemplifies how pure presence can foster trust and ease. Move languidly among them or simply hover in place, letting the ocean's mild currents do the navigating. You might notice that your breathing slows even more, your thoughts drifting like stray wisps of cloud. If you close your eyes briefly, you may sense the entire ocean around you, above, below, and all sides, cradling you in motionless gentleness. Time blurs as though midday could last forever, suspended in sunlit calm. Section 71. Beneath the Sunlit Archway. Venturing further, you come upon a natural archway, a massive rock or coral formation rising from the seafloor, forming an overhead bridge near the surface. Sunlight pours through the gap between the arch and the sea surface, creating a grand, illuminated gateway. The water surrounding the arch is tinged with swirling light patterns, reminiscent of stained glass in a cathedral. Swim under this arch, observing how the light shifts across your arms and shoulders. Depending on your depth, you might glide through bright columns of sunlight near the surface, then slip into mild shade, and finally emerge into another pool of radiance on the other side. The transitions feel gentle, as if stepping between rooms in a grand palace dedicated to serenity. Each shift in brightness mirrors the ocean's capacity to transform from one mood to another without losing its inherent peaceful nature. Upon exiting the arch, you may find yourself in a partially enclosed lagoon or bay. The water here could be deeper or shallower, more active or calmer. Regardless, the hush remains, sustained by your relaxed presence and the ocean's ceaseless rhythms. In many ways, crossing under the arch symbolizes your own passage through different states, from the hush of the night, through dawn's gentle awakening, and into the luminous peace of midday. It's a continuous journey of letting go and receiving calm. Section 72. A chorus of dolphins. Near this archway or lagoon, you may hear soft clicking and whistling that signals the presence of dolphins. Following the sound, you spot a small pod weaving gracefully through the water. Daylight illuminates their sleek bodies, giving a silver blue sheen to their skin. Their interactions appear playful as they spin and leap in wide arcs or chase after each other in spirited circles. The water churns with bubbles in their wake, shimmering in the sunbeams. Approach them slowly and respectfully. Dolphins are known for their intelligence and curiosity. If they sense your calm, they may draw near, greeting you with an inquisitive glance or a gentle brush of their dorsal fin. Their whistles rise and fall like a spontaneous choir, full of excitement and joy. In those notes, you catch echoes of the hush you carry, transformed into playful melody. You might remain slightly apart, marveling at their fluidity. Their presence adds a note of lively warmth to the ocean's lullaby, still soothing yet more animated. The experience reminds you that peace needn't always be silent or still. It can also be filled with jubilant energy when approached with gentleness and openness. Let that reminder kindle a soft smile within you, merging your hush with their exuberance. Section 73. Coral pinnacles of midday glow. When the dolphins move on, you drift toward a set of coral pinnacles jutting from the seafloor. These towering formations reach close to the surface, forming spires that almost pierce the luminous plane of sunlight overhead. The midday glow reveals every intricate detail: the multi-layered corals, the sponges in vibrant purples or oranges, and the myriad fish slipping through narrow gaps. Some corals release faint bubbles of oxygen produced by photosynthesis, sparkling like underwater pearls. Gliding among these pinnacles, you feel as though you're visiting a crystalline city. Each spire hosts unique communities. Starfish cling to the lower slopes, while bright damselfish claim the upper reefs. In the swirling halfway points between spires, you might see jacks or larger fish patrolling, scanning for smaller prey. The hush weaves through all of it, a gentle continuum binding this biodiverse metropolis. Take a moment to notice how the fish exhibit neither haste nor panic. They move with purpose, but each motion is guided by innate rhythms. The coral grows millimeter by millimeter over years, unhurried by time's demands. Everything here unfolds naturally, a testament to quiet perseverance. If you let that sense of calm perseverance settle into your own heart, you realize how much tension you can release, how easily you can accept the unhurried flow of your own life. Section 74. The quiet descent beyond the reef. Eventually, the coral pinnacles give way to a smoother, more open terrain that slopes gently downward. Past this boundary, the ocean floor drops off into deeper waters, where the sun's rays only faintly penetrate. This transitional zone is a threshold between the sunlit realm of reefs and the mysterious twilight region that beckons you onward. You recognize the hush intensifying as you drift closer to the edge. The water here takes on a gradually darker tint, shifting from bright turquoise to deeper blues and eventually soft purples or grays. Larger fish might traverse this area, and occasionally you glimpse a shape that vanishes into the gloom, unidentifiable but serene. If you move forward, you'll feel a mild yet persistent pull downward, as if the deeper ocean is inviting you to explore. There's no sense of menace, only curiosity and the promise of even greater stillness. Should you decide to follow that call, let yourself descend carefully. Each meter deeper offers a new dimension of hushed calm. Sunlight wanes, replaced by a blue twilight that soothes your eyes. The reef's bustle fades behind you, replaced by a quieter, more spacious expanse. In these deeper zones, you might feel your breathing slow yet again, your body nearly weightless as you surrender to the water's gentle cradle. Section 75. Approaching the abyssal plains. Continuing downward, you reach a realm where the seafloor extends in wide plains of fine sediment, almost like an underwater desert. Here, the sunlight is faint, maybe just enough to see a soft glow on the horizon where the slope meets a slightly brighter zone. The hush deepens, each pulse of your heart echoing in your awareness. Though life still exists here, sea cucumbers, brittle stars, slow-moving crabs, it's subtler, less immediately visible. You float above this plain, noticing the nearly motionless water. When you move your hand, small clouds of silt swirl up, then settle gently back. The hush in your mind mirrors this environment. Thoughts may rise like silt, but soon drift back into the calm. In this subdued realm, you might experience a sense of vast emptiness that paradoxically feels comforting. Freed from distraction, you can rest fully in the quiet space that envelopes your entire being. Take your time in this abyssal stillness. If any tension lingers, let it melt away, dissolving in the water's unwavering calm. With so little external stimulation, the gentle music of your breath becomes the principal melody. Each slow inhale and exhale reminds you of your own aliveness, your own capacity for unwavering tranquility, even in places that seem boundless and unknown. Section 76. Glimmers in the gloom. As you adapt to the deeper light, you begin to see faint glimmers scattered across the seafloor, small bioluminescent creatures or phosphorescent algae reminiscent of stars in a midnight sky. Each flicker is fleeting, a gentle pulse that appears, then fades, only to reappear elsewhere. This silent display is akin to an aurora, painting ghostly patterns in the darkness. If you move closer to one of these glowing spots, you find tiny organisms or perhaps a patch of coral that retains some luminescent quality. Their dance is an understated affirmation of life's persistence, even where conditions seem challenging. Let the pulsing lights draw you deeper into your own restful awareness, reminding you that beauty and wonder can exist in any darkness. The hush intensifies here as few creatures pass by to break the stillness. Each subtle flicker becomes a small celebration, each breath a deliberate act of presence. The notion of time dissolves further. If you allow your eyelids to droop, you might slip into a half-slumber, still aware of the gentle current but free from conscious thought. The ocean cradles you, enveloping you in a cocoon of dreamlike possibility. Section 77. Respite at the ocean floor. When you reach a comfortable depth, you might find a slight depression in the seafloor, like a shallow basin or a crater carved by currents. The silt and sand here are soft, almost velvety. If you choose, you can settle gently onto this bed, allowing your body to rest. The water's buoyancy means you feel little pressure. Instead, it's as if you're lying on a plush, supportive mattress in a room where the lights are dimmed to the coziest level. Close your eyes completely if you wish. In the darkness behind your eyelids, the hush expands, becoming a vast ocean of serenity. You can sense your pulse in your ears, a mild rhythmic throb that merges with the faint currents around you. The boundary between inner and outer worlds becomes transparent. You inhale comfort, exhale release. Each breath might lull you further into a restful doze. If any thoughts attempt to stir, let them pass through like faint shadows. The deeper hush of the ocean stands guard, ensuring that no worry can linger. Instead, your mind gently floats among impressions of corals, fish, and luminous caverns. You might not realize when you slip from conscious reflection into dreamlike drifting, but it matters little. The ocean floor offers you an open invitation to wander deeper into rest. Section 78. Soft harmonies of deep currents. Some time may pass, minutes, hours, or an eternal moment, before you notice a gentle stirring in the distance. A current shifts, carrying a mild flow of water that sweeps across the abyssal plain. It's not disruptive, rather, it's akin to a soft breeze that ruffles leaves on a quiet afternoon. This current brushes over your resting spot, stirring tiny motes of silt into glowing specks that swirl like cosmic dust in a sunbeam. Listen closely. You might hear a faint whooshing or humming, the signature of deep currents traveling across ocean basins. Their origin might be hundreds of miles away, shaped by far-off winds and tides, yet they arrive here in a gentle hush, reminding you of the universe's interconnectedness. Every wave, every tide, every drifting bit of plankton resonates with a cosmic rhythm that flows through you as well. Allow the gentle current to lift you from your resting place if it wills. You can drift in its embrace, trusting that it leads you somewhere safe and serene. Or if you prefer, you can remain settled, letting the current pass by like a cloud crossing the sky. Either option keeps you immersed in the hush, free from any compulsion or agenda. In the ocean's domain, your only task is to breathe and be, afloat in tranquil surrender. Section 79. Encounter with the abyssal visitors. In this deeper zone, you might encounter larger, slow-moving creatures. Perhaps an old sea turtle that dives to great depths, or a gentle shark gliding at a leisurely pace. Their silhouettes pass through the veiled gloom, each presence a testament to the diversity and adaptability of life under immense pressure and minimal light. These visitors pay you little mind, they're simply continuing their ancient routines. If one glides near, notice its unhurried grace. Much like you, these beings have learned to navigate the hush of deeper water without fear or haste. They trust the ocean's flow and their own instincts. In their company, you sense an ancient wisdom, a quiet acceptance of life's changes and cycles. They do not fight the darkness, they inhabit it with ease, letting their movements speak more eloquently than words. As they disappear into the distance, you might feel a hint of reverence, an appreciation for the vast tapestry of existence that blankets these ocean depths. Every breath you take can echo that reverence, serving as a silent hymn to the ocean's power and gentleness. In such stillness, you realize how simple and fulfilling it is to harmonize with nature's quiet truth. Section 80. The slow ascent to brighter waters. Eventually, a sense of completion might bloom within you. You've savored the hush of the deeper realm, and perhaps a soft call from shallower waters invites you upward. With delicate, unhurried strokes, you begin to ascend, letting buoyancy guide you. The glimmers you passed on your descent fade below, replaced by a gradual reintroduction of faint light from above. As you ascend, the water's color shifts from deep blues to lighter teals. The hush lingers but morphs subtly, laced with echoes of life from mid-level reefs. You pass through the threshold where sunlight regains its dominance, brightening the water around you. Each meter upward feels like peeling back a layer of slumber, though your restful calm remains intact. If your eyes need to adjust, blink slowly, letting the rippling surface overhead clarify. The hush you carry within you acts as a buffer, preventing any shock from the change in brightness or temperature. Instead, the ascension feels as natural as inhaling after an exhale, a cyclical return to daylit realms. Section 81. Homecoming to the reef. Breaking through into familiar reef territory, you might notice the presence of corals and fish you recognized before. This midday or early afternoon light reveals them in comforting clarity. The hush is softer now, accompanied by the background hum of active marine life. Yet it's no less soothing. The reef welcomes you back like an old friend, each branching coral, each darting fish offering a silent greeting. Hover near a cluster of coral, letting small fish gather inquisitively around you. Their bright scales flash, forming a vibrant chorus of color against the ocean's canvas. Perhaps a crab picks its way across a coral head, oblivious to your presence, or a shrimp busies itself cleaning a reef fish. All seems normal, routine, yet drenched in that luminous hush you've come to recognize as the ocean's perpetual lullaby. If you find yourself drifting toward a slight doze, remember that you're free to float in this half-sleep. The barrier between dreams and waking is fluid here, shaped by waves and your own gentle breathing. Even as the reef bustles with daily life, your calm remains unbreakable. It's woven into your very pulse, sustained by the memory of deeper realms and the abiding comfort of the sea. Section 82. Midday hush among the corals. You hover near a brightly lit reef, enveloped in gently rippling sunbeams that pierce the turquoise surface above. The hush remains tangible, like a faithful companion by your side. Small fish swim close, unafraid, as if drawn to the calm aura you exude. Their darting movements create subtle flashes of color, glints of pink, orange, or electric blue that shimmer through the water. A gentle wave of warmth passes through your body, reminding you that despite the midday brightness, the ocean cradles you in its timeless lullaby. You take a slow breath, feeling the water's mild pressure against your skin. Each exhale invites you to relax a bit more, dissolving stray tensions in the fluid space around you. The sun overhead feels comforting, not harsh, diffused by the water into gentle radiance. Occasionally, a passing shadow signals a larger fish gliding overhead or a playful sea turtle moving gracefully along. They are silhouettes in the shifting tapestry of light. Their presence doesn't disturb the hush, rather they enhance it, weaving life into every pause. Each time you notice a new creature, your heart warms with wonder. You sense that every corner of this reef, every color and flickering shadow, welcomes you into a deeper communion with the sea's ongoing melody. Section 83. Wandering through shallow lagoons. Moving slowly away from the reef, you find yourself drifting into a shallower lagoon-like area. Sunlight saturates the water so completely that it almost glows, illuminating each tiny detail on the sandy floor. Patches of seagrass sway like fields in a gentle breeze, and sporadic coral clusters rise from the sand like miniature fortresses of color. Here, the water's hue leans toward a clear, pale green, a soft pastel that evokes both calm and curiosity. Your body floats easily, buoyed by the slight salinity of the ocean. When you glance upward, you see the dancing mosaic of sunlight on the surface, an endless flicker of gold and pale blue. The hush remains, though it wears a mild daytime hush now, an audible softness carrying hints of distant fish feeding, the dull drone of minute creatures stirring about, and the rhythmic ebb of small waves that reverberate from the lagoon's edges. Approaching a coral outcrop, you discover tiny shrimp perched along the edges, their inquisitive antennae extending to inspect passing particles. Some might scuttle out of sight when they sense movement, while others stand their ground, displaying a fearless curiosity. This interplay exemplifies the gentle dance of life here, an unbroken chain of calm discovery. The hush embraces even these small interactions, painting them with a layer of dreamlike serenity. Section 84. The language of small creatures. You pause near a coral fan that shelters a cluster of young fish, each no bigger than your thumb. Their slender bodies glimmer with faint pastel stripes, almost translucent. They school together with uncanny precision, shifting direction in unison as though sharing a single mind. Whenever a subtle current passes by, the entire group tilts as one, forming a fluid mosaic of shining scales. Observe their grace and coordination. Notice that no single fish appears to be leading. Rather, they respond to minuscule shifts in each other's movements, a silent dance that fosters unity and protection. In their tiny world, communication thrives without words, through flicks of fins, minute changes in direction, the occasional flash of a reflective belly. It's a language of subtlety that flows alongside the ocean's hush. If your thoughts wander, allow them to sync with this gentle interplay. Imagine each drifting worry dissolving in a swirl of shining scales, carried away on the next wave of motion. You feel lighter, your breath slower. Perhaps you realize that within your own life, a similar unspoken language can exist. Small acts of kindness, moments of empathy, each helping to create harmony in a larger tapestry of shared existence. Section 85. Resting among sunlit sandbars. Continuing on, you reach a series of low sandbars that form gentle ridges and valleys along the lagoon floor. The sunlight feels stronger here, yet still soothing, refracted by the water into a shimmering haze. Your gaze drifts over the rippled sand, each wavy pattern shaped by currents that have come and gone over countless days. Even in something as simple as sand, nature's artistry reveals itself. Float over one of these bars, letting your belly nearly brush the sand. Tiny air pockets might release from beneath, rising to the surface as pearly bubbles. The hush envelopes you in a warm stillness, a mid-afternoon calm reminiscent of a quiet meadow on a summer day. Except here, the air is water, the breeze is a mild current, and the hush extends in every direction, above, below, and all around. You realize that you, too, are shaped by subtle currents, of emotion, thought, and memory. Yet in this moment, you can sense them all softly quieting. If any persistent tension remains in your body, envision it rolling off your back like grains of sand sliding away in a gentle current. Each exhalation carries away a little more, leaving a serene sense of emptiness, a fertile void where peace naturally takes root. Section 86. The gliding sea rays. Off to the side, a pair of eagle rays glides into view, their elegant wings undulating in a slow, hypnotic rhythm. They seem to dance across the sandy floor, sometimes dipping low enough to disturb small puffs of sediment. Their spotted backs, a pattern of white dots on a dark background, resemble a star-filled night sky brought into daylight. The rays move in near-perfect unison, occasionally crossing paths in graceful arcs. Their tails trail like ribbons, completing the visual poetry of their motion. When they sense your presence, they pause momentarily, then continue on without fear. Perhaps they're on a leisurely search for small crustaceans hidden beneath the sand, or maybe they're simply enjoying the midday calm. Your breath aligns with their measured wing beats. With each slow flap, you inhale calm. With each quiet glide, you exhale residual tension. The hush in your surroundings intensifies. Even though sunlight saturates the lagoon, the peace you feel resonates like a gentle lullaby. Section 87. Subtle shifts in the sky above. You begin to notice that the angle of sunlight overhead has changed slightly. It's still bright, but hints of a late afternoon softness creep in. The water's hue mellows, shifting toward a warmer, more golden cast. You might not have realized how much time has passed, caught up as you are in the hush of exploration. Yet the day's progression continues, just as your inner state deepens its tranquility. Let your gaze wander to the surface, where you see mild wavelets scattering sunlight like tiny diamonds. Occasionally, a playful breeze might ripple the water from above, sending gentle patterns over the lagoon floor. This interplay of wind and sun, water and light, forms a moving mosaic that calms the mind and soothes the spirit. There's no rush here, only a gradual unfolding of daylight into another phase. Your body remains weightless, your limbs relaxed. If at any moment you feel the need to shift or stretch, follow that intuition gently. Every movement can be a small, mindful act that heightens the sense of peace. The hush you carry merges seamlessly with these changing conditions. Afternoon or evening, calm or energetic waters. Nothing can break the continuum of rest that you've nurtured throughout your undersea journey. Section 88. A meeting with seahorses. In a cluster of swaying seagrass, you spot a pair of seahorses, their tails coiled around the slender blades. These intricate little beings mimic the grasses in both texture and color. Some sporting pale greens or muted browns, others flaunting pastel yellows or pinkish stripes. Their tiny snouts dart forward now and then, snapping at passing morsels of plankton. Approach them carefully, mindful that seahorses are delicate creatures. Notice how they cling lightly yet firmly, their entire posture an exercise in graceful anchoring. Their slow, measured movements impart a sense of quiet focus. From time to time, a seahorse might uncoil its tail to drift a little closer to a new blade of grass, only to re-anchor itself gently. Witnessing their calm existence, you feel your own breathing slow even further. A hush deepens inside your chest, reminiscent of an unspoken kinship with these fragile but resilient creatures. Let their presence remind you of the value in holding on to tranquility during life's mild currents and subtle shifts. Although seahorses appear delicate, they thrive by swaying in harmony with the environment. In their stillness, they find safety. In your hush, you discover renewed peace. Section 89. Heading toward a coral cliff. A gentle current nudges you out of the lagoon, guiding you to a coral cliff that drops off into deeper water. The top of this formation is sun-drenched, thick with branching corals and small fish bustling about. However, as you peer downward, you see the coral slope extending into a cobalt blue that eventually fades into a silent twilight. The midday hush transitions seamlessly into an undercurrent of anticipation. What mysteries might lie below? If curiosity beckons, let yourself descend along the coral wall, brushing past fans and sponges that cling to the slope. Shafts of sunlight filter down at an angle, carving glowing pillars in the water. As you move deeper, the temperature gradually cools and the color palette shifts. Vibrant corals give way to subtler hues, navy blues, slate grays, occasional flashes of luminescent organisms. The hush grows more profound. You can still make out glimpses of fish, some that specialize in deeper waters or prefer shadows over bright reefs. They watch you pass with calm interest. If a flicker of excitement stirs within you, let it merge with the overarching sense of rest. Rather than quicken your heart, it becomes an enriching thread in the tapestry of your relaxed awareness. In this oceanic cathedral, even curiosity flows gently. Section 90. Mild afternoon currents. Partway down the coral cliff, a steady cross-current begins to sweep along the slope. It's not forceful, just enough to carry you smoothly if you relax your body. Surrendering to this current feels akin to being guided by a patient hand, leading you along the coral's contours. Occasionally, you might kick gently to adjust your path, but mostly you let the water do the work. Feel the hush resonate with the quiet rush of the current. Every soft whisper of water against the coral is like a lullaby verse, and you glide from line to line in harmony. Your arms and legs rest in a state of near weightlessness, as though each motion is measured and minimal. If your mind drifts to daily concerns, the current's pull reminds you to return to the present flow, effortless, expansive. At times, you pass by smaller caves or indentations in the coral wall. Peering inside reveals a swirl of fish or the faint glimmer of a hidden shrimp's eyes. You can briefly explore these alcoves or continue riding the current onward. Either choice sustains the hush you've cultivated, a hush that softly insists on letting go of worries, letting go of haste, immersing in the ocean's gentle cradle. Section 91. Mid-afternoon whale song. Suddenly, the water around you vibrates with a low, rolling call. It's a whale song, resonating through the coral wall and carrying across the open water. This time, the notes feel warmer, lighter than the haunting nocturnal calls you heard before. Perhaps the whale is traveling closer to the surface in the afternoon sun, or communicating with a distant companion. Whatever the reason, the result is a melodic wave of calm that wraps around you. Listen as the whale's voice rises and falls, forming a slow, deliberate chorus. Each echo lingers in the hush, weaving among the corals and dancing along the current. Your body seems to absorb the vibrations, like a drumskin welcoming each resonant touch. If you close your eyes, you can almost see the notes drifting in the water like ribbons of soft light, swirling in tune with your heartbeat. Let this whale song reaffirm your connection to the ocean's collective life. In the same way the seahorses find balance in the grasses, or rays glide across sandy plains, the whale's call becomes another expression of unity. There's no rush to interpret meaning. Allow the notes to wash over you, fueling the peace that's blossomed within. As the song fades to a gentle murmur, you sense an even deeper stillness settling into your breath. Section 92. A subtle shift toward evening. Gradually, the sun's position overhead continues to shift, hinting that late afternoon is giving way to the approach of evening. Subtle changes in the water's color, perhaps a slight darkening or a golden cast, inform you of the passing hours. You sense no urgency, the hush remains a faithful companion. If you glance upward, you might see the sun's glow softening, rays angling more acutely through the water. Swim gently back toward shallower waters, noticing how the reef's brilliance shifts in tandem with the hour. Some fish become more active as they prepare for evening feeding or nighttime shelter, while others retreat deeper into the coral labyrinth. A mild interplay of color and motion ensues, as though the reef itself is transitioning costumes for a twilight performance. Yet the hush endures, giving every movement a tranquil quality. Take a moment to reflect on the richness of the day. You've traveled from morning to afternoon in this undersea realm, each phase graced by calm discovery. Let that sense of fulfillment fill your chest, mingling with gratitude for the ocean's continuous gift of peace. Section 93. Shadows lengthen over the lagoon. Returning to a familiar shallow lagoon, you see the once bright sand now tinged with softer hues, light gold, pale orange, even faint lavender as the sky above shifts. Long shadows from corals and rocky outcrops stretch across the seafloor. Occasionally, a silhouette of a passing fish moves across these shadows, merging seamlessly into the quiet tableau. The hush you hold aligns with the lagoon's gentle hush, forming a comforting resonance. If you float near the surface, your eyes just below the waterline, you'll see the sky overhead morphing into the early signs of dusk, clouds taking on subtle pink or amber edges. The water surface glints with the last reflections of stronger sunlight, soon to be replaced by twilight's gentler glow. Each wavelet and ripple diffuses these colors into abstract patterns, mesmerizing in their slow dance. Within you, a warm sense of calm remains unbroken. The hush you cultivated through all these hours now gains a tender, crepuscular quality, like a lullaby that's winding down as evening approaches. If any new tension creeps into your muscles, let the lagoon's hush soothe it away. Picture tension dissolving like grains of sand in a gentle current, leaving only expansive ease. Section 94. Evening schools of fish. As the sun slips lower, certain fish begin to school more densely. Silversides, anchovies, or other small varieties might gather in large, shimmering clouds, moving as a single organism. Their bodies catch the waning light, each glint echoing a soft hush that flutters through the lagoon. When a predator fish or curious turtle passes by, the school shifts in a collective burst of brilliance, then settles again just as swiftly. Swim at the edge of one such school, enthralled by the hypnotic motion. The fish ebb and flow in perfect unity, reminding you of the smaller schooling fish you observed earlier but on a larger scale. Perhaps the fading daylight spurs them to band together for protection, or to prepare for an evening migration. Either way, the hush lingers as though the entire environment moves in slow, choreographed harmony. Feel your breath synchronizing with the fish's group movement. Inhale as they contract into a tight sphere, exhale as they expand outward. Each cycle fosters a deeper immersion into stillness. The ocean's hush is not just silence. It's a tapestry of small sounds, gentle shifts, cooperative rhythms that invite you to be part of a grand, peaceful whole. In witnessing this unity, you might discover an even gentler hush resonating within your heart. Section 95. Return of the Dolphins. From a distance, a chorus of high-pitched clicks and whistles echoes through the twilight waters. A pod of dolphins reappears, gliding toward the lagoon's entrance. This time, their chatter seems a bit livelier, as if they sense the dimming light and want to make the most of the remaining day. Their silhouettes dance in the golden gloom, each dorsal fin slicing the surface momentarily before dipping below again. Approaching the reef, they spiral and play, occasionally leaping above the water as if in a joyful display of evening acrobatics. The hush remains, yet it now includes a playful note, a gentle hum of excitement. If you float near them, one or two might venture close, peering with curious eyes before swirling away in a flourish of bubbles. Their chatter resonates through your body, a melodic reminder that even in calm, there can be delight and exuberance. Though you remain a passive observer, their presence lifts your spirit. You note how effortlessly they adapt to the changing light, weaving through coral heads and shallow channels without hesitation. The hush weaves with their songs, forming a lullaby spiced with playful arcs and splashes. This late afternoon performance might last only a short while, but it leaves a soothing imprint, echoing the day's warmth and unity as dusk nears. Section 96. Approaching the evening glow. Eventually, the dolphins move on, and you sense twilight settling in for good. The water surface above you begins to carry the soft, muted colors of an evening sky. Rose, lavender, hints of indigo creeping in. Here below, the lagoon starts to transform as well, with corals either closing or preparing to feed, and certain nocturnal creatures stirring with curiosity. You feel a gentle pulse, like a shift in the ocean's heartbeat signaling the transition from day to night. Breathe slowly, appreciating this passage. Just as you began your journey in the hush of early morning or late night calm, you now stand at the threshold of another quiet realm. Let your eyes rest on the horizon where the sun's final light meets the water. If you're near the surface, you may break through and see a sky streaked with color, the silhouettes of distant hills or trees etched against the last glow of day. Even as the ocean grows slightly cooler, the hush grows more comforting, wrapping you in an embrace that transcends any shift in temperature or light. You realize once more how fluid time can be here, how easy it is to slip from one phase of the day to another while carrying an unbroken thread of peaceful awareness. Welcome the evening hush, letting it merge with your own. Section 97. Revisited shipwreck at twilight. From the corner of your vision, you notice the outline of a familiar sunken ship you may have glimpsed before, its rusted beams and mossy decks resting quietly on the sandy seabed. Now, draped in the soft hues of dusk, the wreck exudes a haunting but tender beauty. Corals and sponges have claimed much of the hull, glowing gently in the waning light, and small fish seek shelter in its crevices for the coming night. Swim closer, recalling the reverence you felt when you first encountered this underwater relic. Time has changed the mood. Where morning or midday might have shown the wreck in bright clarity, twilight imbues it with mystery. Lacy shadows stretch across the deck, moving gently in tandem with the water's motion. If you pass through an open doorway or a porthole, you find echoes of quiet, an intimate hush that resonates with the ship's long rest. Inside the husk of the vessel, everything feels muted, as though the world beyond has paused. Crabs scuttle along corroded metal, sea urchins tuck into corners, and tiny fish flicker in and out of half-light. You can almost sense the stories this ship once carried, now softened by the ocean's patient reclamation. Linger for a moment, letting the hush cradle both past and present, day and night in a tapestry of peaceful unity. Section 98. Nocturnal creatures emerge. As the sun continues its gentle descent, you see the first hints of nocturnal life awakening. Small creatures like lobsters, eels, or nocturnal shrimp venture from their daytime hiding spots. Their eyes or antennae glint in the faint gloom, reflecting patches of the day's last light. If you swim slowly, you can watch them scuttle across the seafloor or poke their heads out to investigate the darkening scene. A sense of calm anticipation settles in the water, like a collective exhale before night fully takes hold. The hush you've carried all day remains, now taking on a subtle tinge of evening enchantment. Perhaps the water feels slightly cooler on your skin, or you sense the ocean's broader currents shifting to align with nighttime tides. Each shift, temperature, light, presence of nocturnal creatures, reinforces your bond with the sea. Section 99, Glimmers of Phosphorescence. When the sun finally dips below the horizon, the sky above transitions into a dim tapestry of purples and blues. Underwater, the darkness grows, but it's accompanied by sparks of phosphorescent life. Minuscule plankton begin to glow when disturbed, forming swirls of light around your arms or fins. Tiny luminescent algae might cling to rocks, creating a scattered constellation on the ocean floor. This gentle glow is reminiscent of the nocturnal scenes you experienced before, yet somehow it feels new. Maybe the lagoon's layout is different, or the subtle changes in season bestow unique patterns of bioluminescence. In the hush, you move slowly, each stroke igniting a faint shimmer that dissolves as quickly as it appears. It's as if you're tracing your path in glowing ink that quickly vanishes. Allow yourself to linger in these swirling points of light, letting them guide you deeper into evening relaxation. Each flicker, each pulse, is a gentle affirmation that life persists in every corner of darkness, accompanied by a hush as vast as the ocean itself. You might feel any last vestiges of daytime tension fall away, replaced by a profound acceptance that you, too, can glow softly in the quiet of night. Section 100, Evening Reunion with the Hush. You've been immersed in the ocean's rhythms from dawn through midday, and now dusk settles in. Reflect on this long, flowing day beneath the waves. Consider all the hush-soaked moments, encounters with graceful rays, schooling fish, playful dolphins, and the ancient whale song echoing through the coral walls. Each interaction has been woven into a continuous tapestry of calm. Now,